Okay, we are live. Yep. Yeah. All right, we're good to go.
Okay, it's June 18th, 2025. The time is now 6:34 p.m. and this is a meeting of the Facilities Committee. The first item on the agenda is introductions. So Luke?
Luke Johnson, Network Administrator.
Lisa Raymond, Assistant Superintendent for Business.
Dennis Pugliese, Director of Facilities.
David Warner, Committee Chair, Board Member.
Steve Morton, President of Woodland Middle High School PTSA.
Katie McGee, parent of a 10th grader here.
Don Rappaport with Component Assembly, Construction Company, and the Varsity Boys Basketball.
And online, Denise?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Denise Alamo. I'm a mother of twins that will be in the 8th grade in the fall.
And Judy? You're muted.
Good. Put the video on, but didn't turn that on. I'm Judy Basher. I live in the Rex Ridge Apartments over by below the high school. Nice to meet you.
Amy?
Good evening, Amy Ashley Moore, District Treasurer.
Gabriella?
Good evening, everyone. Gabriella Barahona, mom of 3 boys in the district, 5th grader, 3rd grader, and kindergartner, and currently the treasurer for the PTA Council.
Nancy?
Hi, Nancy Barbero, Savin Engineers. We're the construction managers.
Chris?
Chris Valen, trustee, parent of 2, and on my way.
Yeah. I know the feeling. Sarah?
Hi, I'm Sarah Lazari, parent of 2 in the district, finishing up 1st grade and 4th grade.
Jessica?
Good evening, Jessica Mosley, and parent of 2 kids in this district.
Faisal?
Hi, good evening. Pastor Siddiqui, parent of 2 boys in going to 4th and going to 1st. Over.
That's more to this, more than one. Tracy? You're muted.
I know. I'm on the road. Tracy was for president, parent of 2 in the district and 1 recent graduate. Thank you.
Thank you. Megan?
Hi, everyone. Megan, 1 child at Bailey and 1 child at Highview.
Very good. And back at the back of the room.
Elizabeth Sandona, assistant to the Dennis Pugliese Facilities Director.
Good. Anybody I missed? Okay. As you'll see by the bouquet of flowers sitting here on this table, Lisa Raymond, our assistant superintendent for business, is going somewhere. Where are you going, Lisa?
I'm going to Dobbs Ferry, July 1st.
Okay. I will tell you that what has it been about 4 years you've been here? In terms of facilities for the kids after the big calamity with the failed bond, and we needed money to make all the small projects to repair everything to go. The last guy didn't have you, okay, and you have made all the difference in the world to all of this stuff. So thank you for that.
My pleasure.
And you got some cookies if you want.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we had a long-term desire to fix our mansion. It's had problems. We closed it out and evacuated it several years ago. And someone has a proposal that kind of comes to our rescue. I'd like to introduce John Rappaport of Component Assembly Systems, and you may also know him as our basketball coach. Take it away, John.
All right, can everybody hear me out there?
Yes, sir.
All right, great, thank you. Appreciate the chance to present to the committee. This is a committee, right? Facility committee, okay. I am in the construction industry. My dad started our company, Component Assembly. You can look us up, componentassembly.com. We do have a few brochures if you want to peruse them, whoever here is here. But the best way to do this is componentassembly.com. So we're a 61-year-old drywall contracting firm. We do walls and ceilings on very large projects. Now, we started with a $139 project at the World's Fair. That was the first job we had back in '64. So we certainly grown. And my dad still runs the business. He's 88. He comes to Woodlands pep rallies and watches the games on TV. So he's supportive of the basketball program. And we help build the press box and the trophy case. So we've invested here because we gifted those items to the district. Now, the reason I'm saying this is that we'd like to keep going with the mansion. Now, we can't afford to do the whole project. So what we're presenting now, and hopefully, did everyone see this proposal via email?
Let's bring up the proposal.
Hold on a second.
We have several pictures of the inside of the mansion, and we have the proposal.
So let me explain a little here. No, of course, let's just stay on that. Let's stay on that. So when I got to here, back in about 10 years ago, I was working with the football team. That's where I thought, hey, let's build this press box with Matt Smith. Give him some credit. He was the athletic director at the time. We put together the proposal to do this. We donated our carpenters and we got the materials. There were other trades involved, but we got it done. It took 3 years for the state to approve. But if you go to the football field, you see that. Then I was an assistant basketball coach, and I always noticed that this was the symbol of the district. And of course, I became the head varsity basketball coach, continuing to notice this. So when I drove by the mansion to practice, literally the last 2 years, looked to the right, I said, we got to do something, right? And it really became a passion to try to bring this back. Now, we asked David and Tracy to give us the history of the mansion, and let's continue. There it is. Now, again, I'm not sure if you have this.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I heard, I'm here.
Yeah, no, I just said that you and David had provided the history of that mansion, which is
And I'm on the roads. You have something there? I don't know if they can hear me.
Yes.
We have booklets, but we can email you what's in the booklet, I guess. Was that sent, David, or not? The whole booklet?
Yes, we're looking at it.
Oh, no, that was sent to them. Okay. So you could see this. So, it's fascinating history. This is around West Coast, so we have these various sort of mansions and castles, et cetera. So this is one of them. And we have the best campus in West Coast, in any place, because there's a certain serenity that you get by coming on the campus. And that's one of the things that attracts me, because I want serenity with these players, and we get that. Now, with this project, what I'd like to focus on is the second page. The mansion was used as an administration building, the home of the Board of Ed. When I first came in here to interview back in the football job that I had, I went in there and I was so impressed with the wood floors, et cetera, at Mets. Now, of course, and then I was an assistant, like I said, and then it looks like in 2019, roof leaks, et cetera. So that's 6 years you've been there.
Yeah.
Quite a bit of time.
Well, you got COVID in there.
Yeah. I got it. So, but basically 6 years, including the time we couldn't get together. But to me, the symbol of the district and the strength that we all have here. And by the way, everyone's such hardworking and great intention, so there's no issue there. We want to come together and possibly reopen it. But I thought, with the context I have, my dad and others in the industry and other people will kind of get into that. We might be able to do this, and we'll get into it. And Dennis, by the way, has worked tremendously with us and Lisa to put this together, and Dr. F. And Tracy, and Dave. So the thing is, we have put together over a year or so the idea behind this, and here it is now. So we see that you wrote there that the building is structurally sound, but there are ventilation problems. There was leaks in the pool area was affected, and the roof has been replaced. So that's kind of where it's at. And Tracy added the other parts of the early childhood center. And we know, and you all live it, how important it is to get this building back, right? I mean, to me, it's the symbol of them. So there's some photos. So we brought our construction photography people. It's kind of sideways there, but.
We can also, we all have the pictures separate if you want to look at them.
Yeah, I can bring them up.
Separate, okay. Thank you. So we.
Mansion there towards the bottom.
Yeah, sure.
So we took the time to, thank you. We took the time to come out to the mansion with construction photography people, and you'll see why, because we're gonna walk inside. And they're out of Irvington, a company called Bernstein Associates. They're doing construction photography literally since '58. And they go on our job sites, one woman named Lori Donald, and she volunteered her time. I don't think she charged, but I can't remember. And she came over and took these photos with Dennis, and the architects were doing a walkthrough with our construction people, actually, our foreman and stuff came over. So you can see how great the pictures are. And any submission we make to a potential benefactor, we'll call them, or what was your term for it today?
Philanthropist.
A philanthropist who might be out there that I think we can approach, who has plenty of money. These are important, right? So there's the exterior, then you could pull up, let's go back to the, there's the interior. And you all know what this looks like, but keep going. There, obviously what a great place. So anybody with kind of the vision and the understanding of the importance of the building would certainly see through these pictures. Keep going. That's the pool room. I mean, just imagine being in that pool room back in the day, how nice it is, and how great it would be to have it back for all of us. Go keep going. That's the outside, I guess. I don't know why that's there.
We've gone beyond mansion.
Yeah.
There's a.
Nowhere. Those are the ones that were kind of sideways. There's another one you see. Again, this is all known to you all. We only took the best of, meaning like what she took. So we could certainly, well, again, the booklet itself has the right size, but you can see what we're saying. And if you have the email, you can certainly look at it. Yeah. So we have the backup, let's call it, to the idea behind this. And the reason I'm saying that is any costs associated with these things have to come with specific backup, like this area, floor plan. This is what it's gonna cost. We do, and there's a floor plan. We do, for instance, our company, the drywall and carpentry elements. We're doing 2 jobs at JFK right now, 2 big places to fly in and out, gates and all this. We're doing the Waldorf Astoria Hotel, and the reason I mentioned that is that's a renovation, okay, and a very large one. We're doing the Chase Bank headquarters, JP Morgan, 27. Now, why am I mentioning these things? Because we have significant contacts with material suppliers, et cetera, which we provided with the press box, but we're also in different markets. We did the African American Museum of History with tomorrow's Juneteenth. We celebrate that. So we've been around the country doing the Apple's headquarters, for instance, and Facebook's headquarters, where Mark Zuckerberg actually works. We actually did Mark's office, and we know he was a Greenburgh resident. Maybe you're getting an idea where we're going with it, but there's a lot of construction we've done over so many years. And so we want to bring our connections back there. We did these major projects to this possibility. So one of the things we'll talk about a little bit, and Dennis and David and Lisa can elaborate with Tracy about what we would do with the space in the high school when people are then relocated. There's a lot of potential to do various things, and we'll talk about the history of that. So it's not just fixing up the mansion, getting it ready for occupancy, but what can we do with what's here now?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really a double and a both thing, benefits. And to me, look, I'm down in the gym all the time, but I do walk around the school. I go to the arts exhibit, I went to the play. So the thing is, we want it to be the most modern place. And by the way, the gym has a new floor and Dennis keeps that floor nicely, but we want the whole place. So you can see the floor plans that were provided with the existing floor plan of the administration building. And I want to mention one other thing. We model our buildings in 3D, meaning we can model this building as built, meaning go in and make a 3D model, which would impress tech people, let's say, technology people. So there's a way to do this. as part of the cost to then take an existing building and make it into a model. Just mention that, because we do that now. We actually modeled Facebook's headquarters. You know, and that was well received by them. So there's the floor plan. Then the next part was a building survey that Dennis had provided, and we went over. This is from 2020. However, it hasn't really changed on us, right, Dennis?
Not significantly, no.
Right. So, you know, take a look at it. You can certainly, it's the backup material that would be provided to this benefactor or philanthropist to show, hey, this is not right. This, you know, I'm not as familiar with these kinds of things, but certainly going to be more familiar. You want to highlight any of this? What's in this survey, Dennis?
There's a bunch of upgrades that would be needed from the retaining wall in the back of the building, which is cost would be fairly significant. We have done a lot of work to restore the building so that it was watertight, a new roof, brick pointing, new windows, skylights. But the building is, you know, was constructed in 1908. It's aged and it needs some help.
Right.
I would say that the ventilation is very important.
Yep.
We've got the roof pretty much done, but the ventilation, we don't want to reoccupy without that. We can do some things in bits and pieces, but not that.
And just as a side note, Travelers Insurance is our insurance company, and I recently was at their headquarters, and the man in charge of their air quality lab, I mentioned this, he said we'd be interested in providing services possibly at no cost. And Travelers is the top insurance company, that in my opinion, but then some other good ones, Chuck. But the reason I say that is there's interest to get involved because Travelers can put their name on this. Say, hey, we helped reopen the mansion. Component assembly, we helped reopen the mansion, et cetera. And then the big philanthropist, we'll get into that. But this is the supporting elements. So just on page 17, for instance, there was a cost to replace part of the exterior, $988,000. Just giving you some places to look around. There's different costs associated with all the different parts to reconstruct the place.
I can see the front section appears to be our prioritized list. We went through the mansion and so you'll see a column at the far left here.
That's the next part.
Priority 1, 2, 3.
Let's go to the next one.
And then the building condition survey stuff is later, and this was drawn from that. And then the blue part, I think, looks fairly new. Additional interior scope of work. Did you guys walk through the building and determine that?
No, so I think what happened here, I don't know if I have my thing wrong. The next thing is facility estimated expenses form. That was this one. Yeah, so maybe it was out of order, but so we got this again, working with Dennis and working with the architects. We then looked at the specifics, and this was dated. This was a recent one that was this was given to us when we did the walkthrough. So, and this obviously wouldn't be updated, but it can be something that we can be presented. So if you look at this, it gives the specifics. Thank you, David. Oh, here it is, 20. So actually it says 24-25.
Right, so you have everything adjusted for inflation, but between 2020 and 24, there's quite a bit of inflation. So the good numbers of costs are
right.
Inflation adjustments.
Thank you. Now with some tariffs and other things, you know, but this is the best we can do right now. So on the right side, it gives you the estimates, and these are good estimates. This is real. This is done by experts. And if you want to look at, let's say, the fresh air systems on page 2, 500,000. This is a big one, the 2 million, roughly 1950 for the mechanical fresh air spaces. Obviously, that's a huge priority. So this is, you can present this really to anybody. I know we have a construction manager here. I don't know exactly what company and she's with, but she can certainly understand this, you know, kind of being in the industry. So you know, my thing is to present this to everybody. Here you go. Sure. And you can all certainly look at it, but any presentation to a philanthropist would have to have this because we have to know what they might put into this project. So if you look at everything and go to page 7, it's about a $20 million project. But we know things change, right, in the construction industry. So we might say to this person or foundation, let's get to 25 or something, just for change orders and blah, blah. You know, they call it general conditions, right? So you don't want to necessarily go with the 20 if the person has plenty of funds, which we know that he does, and his family, then we'll probably go for 25. And we'll have to adjust this, but this is ready to be presented. Do you have any other thoughts on this form? Dennis or David or Lisa?
Yeah, my thinking is, you need probably an executive summary at the front, like a 1-page of everything. Description, scope, and cost, all on 1 page. And then the email that I wrote with the history of the mansion, it was an email. So it's got references to links and things that aren't in the booklet. So we need to clean that up.
Sure.
So I clean up my writing, and then of course we're going to have to, depending on what your ask is, we're going to have to go to legal and make sure that that they're on board with it. So what were you looking for? Because this is a wonderful idea, okay? And
let's keep going.
We want to go with that, and the question is, what do you need from us?
Okay, let's keep going, just to look at what we did, because I want to get everybody full. That's a little history of Component, right? And we have a West Coast division called Component West. So it's the same company. You can see, just I wanted to just, you know, put that in there, just because we are kind of leading this, but we all are together. Like, for instance, the board, the town supervisor has already spoken to me about it, Paul, and I know that he has tried before, Paul, to do this, which he's pretty good at insisting on things, but it's a hard thing to do because it's quite a bit of money, and people say, oh, you're fine where you are and this and that, which we know isn't true. Anyway, because we'd like to get you back there. This letter, which is the next thing, so this is a GC company, level 10. And I'm writing this here because it'll give you a little sense of where we may be going with this. So we got a letter back in November, because we've been working on this for a while. Like, you know, I coached this year, we had 4 months of basketball. I was kind of busy with that. We got to the state finals and it was great. And so we're now back to regular business, let's say. And he's writing here, talking about Component West, and partner with them, and begin with the successful completion of the Facebook project. We actually, like I said, built Mark Zuckerberg's office. I believe he was a resident of Greenburgh, growing up in this area. So, yeah, he's from Westchester. You know, if you look at the next page, there's a picture of the project. That's our inspection way at the bottom. Keep going. There you go. That's one of our, I think it's a woman carpenter, I'm sure, but anyway, if you go up a little more, there's a Frank Gehry design. So we did all the pods, those are called pods. So Mark's office is a lot bigger and more expensive, but that wasn't an easy job to do. Okay, and we did well with it. We prefab a lot of materials. So there's a trust factor, that's a possibility to go there. The other thing is, I'm going to mention this too because it's important. A law school friend of mine from Penn, where I went to law school, is the chief compliance officer from Meta. Henry Moniz. He knows about this, and he, he's a very close friend of mine. So he's one of the top executives at Meta, and he also played basketball for Bowdoin College. So he is interested. He is one of my best friends. So we have all these things coming together, right? I'm here in the district coaching. We have a construction business, we built the offices for that company. My best friend from law school is an executive who works there, the top exec. And here we are now, let's just keep looking at this. This is some of the work from Facebook. This was about, to us, about a $28 million project roughly. And then you keep going. And that's the more of it. Okay, those are the pods.
It's an Escher drawing, there is no.
Yeah, and then we're gonna include maybe a picture of the team because we're kind of the protagonists of this thing. That's our championship photo. And then there's another one. We can decide what to put in there. It's not, that's one for, that one is interesting sideways, but that one was, so 2 years ago, we had a Barack Obama School for Social Justice in our league. So the coach there, I coached in the Empire State Games many years ago, it's from Ardsley. And I said, why don't we do a game to honor the My Brother's Keeper program, MBK, right? So he said, sure. So we have one game every year, we're gonna do it again, when they're not in our league, where we have a trophy that is the winner of that game, the MBK, winner take all game against Obama. They're a very good team. We're thinking of inviting President Obama to the game this year at Woodlands. So we're not thinking, we're going to. We're fortunate to win both games. They're very, very good games. We could be lost. And 1 year they beat us in a non-MVP game. So we're 3-1, I think, since I've been here against them. But the reason I say that is we're gonna play them again. And who knows? We get this project going, we get Obama here. Next thing you know, there's a lot of energy towards Greenburgh Central Schools and Woodland. So that's a picture after the game. Dr. Iverson is on the left, and you see Mr. Smith on the right. And now we're very happy, right? That's the truth. And that was a fun one. And then the last one, and again, this is just to show the people that may decide this, the foundations that might provide the money, that we're connected. So that's the town board. And when we gave the shirts, but they honored the team, this is recently. We appreciate you, the board, honoring us and getting the shirts. Hopefully you got them. I have some access, so if you want. And there's Paul Feiner wearing the shirt, and Gina Jackson, one of the town board members, her son was our manager, as Tracy's daughter was, Connie. So we're really like integrating everything, meaning like now the town board has, brought our team in. We have the board of ed, we have the sports group here, and we have facilities. So what we're thinking is, this is a project that you all think is worthwhile. Then we want to get this going. Obviously, we're having some changes here. So, and then the summer is a down period. So if this is something that obviously legal, David is right, there'll be some other things that have to happen, but we'd like your thoughts now from anyone, questions or anything, and then we'll go forward. If the committee wants to move it toward the board, the full board, then that'll be the next thing. But are there any questions anyone has?
Megan?
I think that ultimately this sounds like a great project. In hearing the description, though, I'm unclear as to what we're trying to decide to move forward at this point in time.
David, you're the committee chair. What are we deciding?
I suspect you want a letter of recommendation from us saying that we think that you're a good guy to do this project and would be happy to work with you, and it would probably come from the board president. Is that what you want?
Yes. Essentially, I mean, we want you to bless this essentially from the committee to the board. Then where we were last night, I was fortunate to win the Nettie Jackson Award. Thank you very much for that. And that's another like resume piece that might help. But the point is, once this committee says go forward, then I guess the board fully will then consider to go forward. And then we will work on the proposal, I guess, over the summer, the lawyers, et cetera, tighten it up, and then get it to my friend. Mr. Feiner has said, and I'm just telling you what he told me, he would then sign a letter that Tracy Mayers as board pres and David as facilities man and Billy's chair and Dennis. And whoever else that we think would be necessary. I would sign it, of course, but we would sign like a joint letter to the foundation that we're proposing to send this to. So everything has to line up, but Supervisor Feiner has told me that he would sign such a letter because he is friends with the family. So we have this is like a puzzle that I see lining up. Now, is it gonna work? We tried, right? Did I know we'd win 24 games this year? No. Did we work to get there? Yes. So I'm kind of thinking we can continue on the success run and get the people that grew up here and want to invest in children and education like we all do. And what's better than reopening the mansion, cutting the ribbon altogether, and we'll just have a different project after that. But this is the one that we're on to now. So the answer is the committee has to decide whether the full Board of Education is going to consider this proposal. And once the full board decides, then we'll just prepare the proposal and then submit it once the lawyers sign on. By the way, I'm a lawyer, so I would think that they can do that, but who knows? So does that answer that, Megan?
I think mostly. So ultimately, you just want us to sign off on it's a $20 million project to open the mansion again at this point in time, and we're in favor of reaching out for funding sources for completion of that project.
Right, and the idea is not a nickel coming from the district.
Correct, yeah.
I mean, this is something that I've thought about, having all these pieces, building someone's office, having my best friend be his cohort. Being in the district now 3 years, seeing the benefits, walking through the project, bringing my construction people there, having done the press books, and the trophy case was important. Our programs came, and I think it was approved by the board. Mr. McCoy said, no, we can't do this until the board approves that project. Dennis helped. So, but we can't do the mansion ourselves. I'm saying we could certainly provide carpenters, but, and we want to, but you're right, Megan. Basically, we need the committee to decide if we want to move forward.
Katie?
Yeah, so I'm presuming there's different rules for when you get things donated. Then like my whole time here, every time we have something done, you have to like put it out to bid and the lowest bidder has to.
Not in the case of the press box.
So,
That wasn't a cheap project.
So we will consult, right? So this is potentially fraud, right? So we have to consult with the legal, right? And we say, okay, here's the size of the project. Where does the money go? Are we subject to RFP rules, or we're suspecting not? Otherwise, this doesn't go forward, and so the legal aspect is make or break. So obviously, you've got to have legal advice before the board makes a decision.
The only thing the board would say is go forward to get the legal advice, because you're going to have a meeting soon, and we're not going to do anything for 3 months. So once the board says a resolution and says, okay, we like what you're doing, we'll get legal, et cetera, and we can revisit. Now, we built that press book football, I don't know if you saw it, seen it. And the reason I'm mentioning that, it didn't go to RFP. It was contributed by not only us, but there were other trades that didn't get paid, but there was so there were portions of it that were not RFP, let's say the carpentry. And that wasn't significant because we're a union. So you can imagine what that costs. So the reason I'm saying that, there is precedent for getting contribution. And I can't imagine the district has not had contributions. Right? I mean, that's part
Not
of
of
like.
this size.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Not of this size.
Yeah, I get it.
Yes, the controls become tighter as you climb the hill.
We could certainly visit that once you guys decide to go forward and the board says, we like it with a caveat. I don't know any other way, if there's another way to go forward. certainly suggest, but I understand your thinking, and we wouldn't do anything against any rules. That makes sense.
Okay, are there other questions? Anyone? Okay, so the question, yes, go ahead.
I think it's great as long as, and like you said, not a dollar comes from us. And the reason I'm saying that is because, like tonight, is because, you know, in the years since the mansion was evacuated, we have had differences of opinion. Not everybody thought it should be renovated. And most of that, I think that was mostly because of the funding. Our campus has many, you know, a plethora of needs, and ECP is in 3 locations right now. We've talked about wanting to build an addition on LFJ. There's just numerous things as if you can, you know, go to our facilities thing. So there was debate about like what is directly benefiting the kids and things like that. And so in the time since then, we've had phase 1 and phase 2. There's been lots of great projects. The auditorium is renovated at Richard J. Bailey. As you know, the track and field now, and the tennis courts and all of that. But I guess I'm just saying this to give you a little background. It's not like everybody.
Done.
And the district.
Like,
I see.
now, if
Although that's
often
simple.
said, we need a growth factor, what we would need, but you know, outside funding, that's, and so that's a different ballgame now.
Yeah, I mean, the symbol of the district is the mansion, and if you don't use it and want to get rid of it, you have to change your symbol. That's number 1. Number 2, I think, I'm just predicting, I'm pretty good at that. This goes, there'll be other things that come in, other gifts. This building itself needs an overhaul, this building. I was in the locker once, I was an assistant, never forget this, and I'm waiting, the team leaves, this is a bunch of years ago, but I'm not blaming anyone. All of a sudden sludge starts coming up from the you know, what's down on the floor, like the drains. So all of a sudden, it's literally, I'm about to go out to the, after half, and there's sludge coming out the thing, and I happen to stay back in the locker room to get something. I'm like, oh my God, this is something out of a movie. And I'm like, is this really happening? And so the sun, and we couldn't go back in the locker room after that. I mean, this is a real story. So then I thought, maybe I can approach this person and do this because of that incident, but etc. So my thinking is, I could be totally wrong, that if this goes, there'll be more after that. Does that make sense?
Yes. Now I'm thinking of another thing. So this proposal has like the floor plan and everything that exists, right? So have we decided if it's renovated, that's what we want to keep and have like that whole, or are we like thinking of different uses for the layout or for the building?
It would depend on.
You used to have ECP class.
It would depend on the goal, okay, would we wanna put, there used to be 3 ECP classes there. Could we create 4 to keep everybody, all our ECP classes on site, or, yeah, would we renovate part of the building for administrative uses, the upper floors possibly? That would have to be, you know, something that we discuss.
Yeah, because I know I've heard parents at meetings like this say they under no circumstances would send their kids to ECP in the mansion if when they're, you know, it wasn't open at the time, that it was just not made.
So that would have to be a discussion of like what we wanna do with the,
So-
just with the space, just, you know,
Right.
for the administration, for offices, you know, just restore, you could maybe have boardrooms, you know, board meetings there again.
The parts of, alright, so Lee F. Jackson is overcrowded, and part of the reason it's so crowded is because. Right, we evacuated all the 3-year-olds to Lee F. Jackson, okay? The high school, we evacuated the staff. So then there used to be a lab where you could compose music, right? We had all this electronic stuff down next to the Black Box Theater. and that is now the business wing, right? And there used to be a technology lab at in the C wing, right? And no more technology lab there. Or sometimes it was used as a wrestling room, and there are certain things, right? And if you go to some of the lowest ranking teachers, you will find them sitting in rooms that look like the classroom has been cut in half. Yeah, so.
I wouldn't say lowest ranking, it might be the classes with the lowest population in them, so I'd just rephrase that.
All right.
Sorry.
So there are space needs.
Now, I don't know how you even did it, like, you lost all those people, somehow you did it and came here? How was it even possible? I mean, I think it's extraordinary that you could have actually got everyone back in here. So if you leave, imagine all the things that can happen here educationally, go in there. Right? So, and it also would be a great thing if you would empower the whole district. We're back, you know? The basketball team is good, maybe the football team will pick it up. We get the sports going, get more kids into colleges. We have some ideas with that, studying and sports and stuff like that. So it could ignite a whole other bunch of stuff. And I know for sure that the Foundation Will Approach has also invested in this kind of thing out west. So there will be a homecoming for that. And you know, we would set ourselves apart. And I think you know, for everyone here now who's been a part of, you know, this meeting, and some of the administration and board people knew about this in terms of me promoting it. Again, why am I doing this? Because we kind of, all the pieces kind of go through me. That doesn't mean it's my only thing, of course. Like, I don't even want any publicity for this personally. I'm just the basketball coach, really. You know what I'm saying? Which is fine. We get plenty of kudos because we're doing fine. But the thing is, it's really for the superintendent and board president and the board and principal and everyone else who's here who want to do this. It's taking all my volunteer time. You know? I believe in this place. I went to Eastchester High School. I always want to say that. We used to play Woodlands. I was always impressed when come to this campus. Man, this is a nice place. Eastchester's party by the road, close road, right? So the thing is, I am a Falcon. And I represent the school, and when we go to other places, I'm very proud of that. Imagine opening this mansion, how it brings tears about to what we can do. Because I believe in diversity, and that's what we have to promote. You know, right now we have a little different situation going on in our society. So to me, we got to turn it around and show that we're together. This would be the way to do that. What's better than the symbol of the district being reopened? And like I said, Supervisor Feiner knows about this. Matter of fact, when I saw him at the event in Town Hall, I said to him, we're gonna get this mansion project going again. He said, yes. So, I mean, it wasn't like a news flash to him. I've already approached him on this, but I didn't have the specific proposal. I didn't have the blessing of this committee and the board to say, okay, go forward, get all the details worked out in terms of costs, you know, because this isn't a final thing. But it's pretty good. You know what I mean? Like, thanks to Dennis and David especially. And, you know, Tracy has signed on in terms of talking to me about it. I'm pretty sure she would want to do that. But the thing is, and Dr. Robinson as well. So we're ready to consider this. I'm interested in anyone else's thoughts because I respect this committee, and my whole career has been in construction. Technology, a lot of it, softwares and stuff. The industry is changing because there's a lot more clarity. So for instance, we do this, we'll have to report all the costs in a very specific way. We have some software that does that, that's pretty powerful. And also, like I said, visual tools. What's going on here? There's glasses you can walk around with, and some they have, and this and that. So it would be one of the things where they could showcase some of their technology as this project is going forward.
Megan, do you have your hand up?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So if we're talking about funding where we're asking for a first round project and then hoping that there are further funding options in the future, why would we not ask for more of our needs currently to actually better provide what our community needs? So as far as the mansion goes, I've made it very clear I do not want pre-K back in the mansion, but I do think we need pre-K in one campus at LFJ. And even if pre-K moves back to the mansion, we've never had a pre-K3 program that I could find history of. We have pre-K3 students mixed into the 4-year-old program. That's still 2 different campuses between the main building and the mansion. If we talk about reaching for the stars with a project like this to expand at LFJ and tie it into the mansion, you're getting our youngest learners as well as our administrators out of the oldest learners' spaces. So you're encompassing the whole district as far as tightness of space in a project like that. And then because there probably will be space at the mansion, we could create that STEAM type of technology lab in the mansion building for the high school students to walk across the parking lot and access that existing space that will be usable for them. So if we're talking about larger funding projects being available to us, yes, I understand the mansion is the symbol of our district, but we're really trying to touch the needs of all of the students in the district. And why wouldn't we try to create this big project, even if in the end, not all of it can get funded immediately?
So you're talking about like the George Balanchine Foundation of the American Ballet Theater, like happening at the mansion. So that's art, and you're talking STEAM. You're thinking secondary students and STEAM programs at the mansion, and then administration staff on the upper floors.
Yeah, so I know that for sure there's the push and pull discussion of trying to put students in the space at the mansion, especially if we open the mansion again. I think we are not served to put pre-K back in the mansion. I think we are served to try to put pre-K together in one location in our district. Even though it's on the same campus, it would still be 2 separate buildings between the main building and the mansion. But if we talk about a larger project, then at the mansion, there will be that additional classroom type environment, which the high school students could absolutely benefit from because they could walk across the parking lot to use that space.
So we can do it as long as we, from your point of view, we can do it as long as we don't put ECP back in the mansion. We could put older students.
Yes, I would agree with that, but I still think we need to try to figure out the ECP. Like, why can't we try to do it all together? If funding is, if we can reach for the stars, why don't we try to?
That's the building next to the mansion? Like on the driveway?
ECP main used to be the barn, right? So
It's
the
part of the
tables are there,
thing.
and the 2 wings. There's actually an entire second story, but it's undeveloped. So you have to climb a ladder to get to the second story. It's not insulated. The furnace is large enough to service it. If you run the pipes, you have to bring electricity, all of that. If you put ECP main, if you double the size and had an upstairs. But that's a whole different.
Yeah, but that's also on the campus, not at another school. That's what I'm just asking.
Or then Lee F. Jackson is physically on the same Warburg property. It's so massive. It just has a different entrance.
Yeah.
And so then you could very easily extend Lee F. Jackson. It probably would be, what is it, 15, 20 million?
I think numbers were depending on the scope and the number of classrooms and.
Yeah,
Right.
usually 7 to 11, I think.
With inflation, I think that's a.
It might be less than 20, depends.
I don't know how much specifics you have on that kind of thing, but the question is, I like what you're saying. However, I don't know anything about that, like, I am just focused on this. And sometimes if you go for too much, you get nothing. So maybe we do an A and a B, like, hey, start with this and we have this behind it. But I don't wanna, I'm just proposing this. I understand, I understand exactly what you're saying and I like the thinking. It's just, I think it would delay this And I don't know, you know. I don't have any feel on that, like it might be a lot more, like the architects have gone through, we've done the photos. So we're ready to kind of present this, and I think once this is going, we can certainly then go, because the investment is happening. And then we say, hey, this we wanna do as well, but if you throw a whole big project with 50 million at somebody, I think it's less likely you're gonna get anything. That's just my feeling. If you go 20, and by the way, we got another 20 behind it, once they're invested, I think they'll much more likely to do it. Then it's almost like what happened, and I wasn't too close to this thing, with the bond proposal of rebuilding the campus. It was a great idea, but didn't happen. So, you know, and that's why you're doing the track and everything, which I think is the right way to do it, like this thing, this thing, this thing. This would be another piece of, and then right behind it would be more. Maybe the district would fund some of that new one because we're doing this. Maybe the bondholders would say, the people in the area would say, look, we're doing this, let's do that. But to go for 50 million, it's probably affordable for that foundation. At the same time, I have no feeling, and I think it would delay where we're at, because I'm ready to present this. So I can't really comment on that, other than I like the thinking, but I think you can do it in parts. You don't have to do it all at once. That's my feeling. One building at a time. Yeah.
Okay, are there more questions? Yes.
I just want to make a comment based on what Katie and Megan were saying. A lot of especially the new parents and people who have moved in the district, it's quite a change. And, you know, almost everybody seems to be saying they don't want the kids split up into different segments for the pre-K. Bringing the kids back to the men is almost a disregard to the community. I'm not saying we don't fix the men up, but I think maybe to bring in a good architectural consultant who could sit there and say, listen, this would be your best bet. It costs 9 or 10 million to build something on Leo Jackson. Here's what you should do with the man, and keep that out of $20 million, but maybe focus it on theme, technology, ballet, art, but not bringing back the kids. That
was never my thing.
No, what I'm saying is that I think what I'm summarizing them, but the inside of the man, whether it's when you renovate it, has to be done a certain way. If you're not going to put classrooms in it, it could be done differently for the administration.
Yeah.
Or you could put a certain type of lab there. Or so I think that when we see the $20 million, it feels fine, but we just want to make sure that it's in the broader scope of what the district needs.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm looking at the floor plan now. It says ECP classroom.
Right.
You're saying, and I understand what you're saying, it's kind of mixing things. Right? We got an administration building and the other class. That's the people are saying, well, we really need to do the other part. I hear you. I'm just saying we can redo this. So this was the existing floor plan. Once you all say go forward, we'll redo this floor plan based on, will I come back here maybe or something, or present it again? But we want to get it going where, because this is a whole summer now, we're not really talking about it. So the thing is, why don't we just work on this once you give us the go ahead to fine tune it? Rather than saying, well, we're gonna shelve it and then another few years is not over.
Sarah?
Yes, I just wanted to say that I am a fan of moving this forward for sure. I understand that, you know, it seems like the time is now, so I'm always for that. I do share the concerns about bringing ACP back into that mansion building. I toured it in 2019 as I had a child attending that, and it wasn't a great space. So I would be a fan of kind of changing that aspect around. And, you know, we can always figure out all ACP at one campus later if we can't do it now. But yeah, I wouldn't be a fan of bringing them back into the mansion.
Now let's just say for now, and you guys can decide if there's a vote, that we're not intending, if that's what you agree with, to bring ECP back to the MANs. I like the MANs, that's like the short name for it. I gotta get all the lingo down. But, so yeah, I hear both of you, I hear what you're saying, and I think we should decide this. Again, what I presented was the floor plan as it was. There was nothing in here saying this is as it should be. But with a directive from you to go forward and then go to the board and say, or go forward, we're gonna report back, of course, and say, here is the final proposal signed off. And we're not gonna do anything against the wishes of the committee.
Okay, so,
You have another comment?
yes.
Yeah, I'd like to hear from the other two trustees here, what you're thinking.
This is, the first time I saw this was today, late this afternoon, on my way to another meeting. I know there's been whispers about getting donations. I am unclear about a couple different things. I agree with various people as far as the use of the mansion, that needs to be a discussion. I know we've had conversations in the past about what will it take to get the mansion open. There's two, I see two tiers, what can get it open and what will get it perfect. And I believe you mentioned earlier, Mr. Police, the retaining wall and the ventilation. Trustee Warner, I think also the fire suppression system.
That would have to be upgraded.
ADA
And
compliance.
ADA compliance, so the four things that need to happen before we can even think about doing the rest of the work and getting people in there and.
That's part of this.
So I'm just giving a little more
Yeah.
background.
Yeah, but that's in here. That part.
That's true.
But there's a lot of processes and Ts that need to be crossed and Is that need to be dotted, and I think there needs to be clarification on. Is the donation a donation of funds directly to the district? Is the what is going to be the ask? I think that's still unclear. And that's all I have to say right now.
It is unclear, because this is the first time I'm presenting it. And I agree with you. I think the ask is as clear as it can be right now. It's $20 million based on hard evidence, hard facts. You know, like we're building all these buildings, and if we don't know what we're doing, we'll lose money, we'll be out of business.
But just to be very clear, not to put a damper on this is great. This is really great. We're always looking for ways to get things done. But there are different requirements up at NICID for approval of work getting done on school buildings. There's different approvals that may need to be made as far as donations. So identifying what is the donation, I think the board, if this goes to the full board, they'll need to understand what exactly is being donated, because that might trigger different things, which is all the so I'll stop there because
No, it's fine.
I don't want to because it's
That's a
7:30
good
already.
point. I would say this though. I was told we had to get approved for me to submit the proposal to this benefactor. And now it's like chicken and egg thing. You're waiting, you're telling us or me that until we get more clarity, you're not gonna wanna consider it. And therefore I can't submit it because the person who's gonna get this wants to know that you're behind it. So you can have an interim thought and say, based on this right now, we're saying go present it. And then we'll fine tune it, et cetera. Otherwise, there'll never be a point when I can present it.
I'm not the lawyer's not here, and that would probably have to be a discussion of
No, you're saying,
conversations.
how would the contributions work?
I'm saying if you donate $50 to me, that's a lot easier process for the board to
Yes.
have it put in front of us and for us to accept.
I
If
get
you
it.
donate $50 to me, but there are different requirements, it's not impossible, but we might have to check a couple different boxes. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm not clear
No,
right now
I get it.
what chicken or egg. That's my question as well.
Yeah.
So.
All I would wanna say is, I don't know if this is possible, and this is what David and I were talking about. And with Dennis, he said Tracy was involved in thinking, Dr. Emerson, that you all would say, go forward with these caveats. Go forward to present it. That's it. That's the only thing we're deciding now. Present this proposal and then come back and give us the details. So all that's being asked, I guess, is this proposal is not complete, and it would be in the letter, which you would see. So this is a preliminary proposal to consider for the foundation, which has billions of dollars. And we then would fine tune it and get approval from districts, attorneys, and then, you know, they have their lawyers now. So, if we wait to, get that all done, I don't really know how long that would take. So maybe we do wait, but, there might be less momentum for it, I don't know. Because I don't think there'll ever be a perfect time to do this, because, you know, like my thinking, like I said, is if the board said, if the lawyers say, well, this, and then, their lawyers say this, you know, it's gonna be a lot of back and forth anyway. There's never gonna be a full thing until the day that the money literally is put in the bank. That could take another few years. You know, so this is a starting point, just to get the conversation started, and then submit a letter as, hey, we're thinking about this. Is this something you would consider? That's all that really, like, it's just a matter of, can this committee and the board say, right, based on this, we want you to go forward, but we're not saying this is the final thing. And I think the resolutions, correct me if I'm wrong, Tracy and Linda, if you can have a resolution saying, yeah, we're behind this, and there's some question, you know what I'm saying? Not everything is always so clear. So it's up to you to draft something that would give the ability to present, however, saying we have to have more specific. That's basically what I'm saying.
My opinion, need the legal review, need to clean up the email and the executive summary.
Yeah.
We need to have administrative space and we need to have instructional space. We probably need to make sure that we, we're gonna hit a problem is do I put in bathrooms for people who are 3 feet tall or 4 feet tall, right? So we'll have to do something with that, but you can wave your hands at the areas that will allow for secondary instruction and not primary instruction. I'm willing to go with that. I would much rather make a try at getting funding and see what we do. Again, legal allowing. So I'm in favor of this. But what do you think, Adonia?
I'm thinking, isn't this kind of similar to us writing those letters to companies asking them to give us money?
Yes.
You're gonna have to go across the board. Okay, so that's how we're gonna. Your ask is, can I take this and present it to the benefactor? Let them know this is just a draft, but let me just socialize the idea and just see if they'll even like it. That's what you're asking for. Then I'm fine with that. Because we're not talking money, we're not talking donation, just, you're just saying, hi, this is Woodlands and this is what, that's what you want to do? Okay. That's fine. I think everything else will come after the fact once they say, that's fine with that.
Okay. So at this point, does anybody have any questions? I think I wanna poll the membership and see what we come up with. So, what we're asking for is should we forward this on to legal and the board? Pretty much with the slight modifications, the cleanup and the executive summary, and let them decide whether they want to write the letter. That's the question. Okay.
When we send in letters to companies that are here, local companies, did we have to get clearance from legal to do that?
Yes, we got legal to look at the letters.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Well, right.
And that letter was that long? Was that letter?
It had a big, long, description of the district and, yeah.
Same kind of thing.
Okay.
But the town is gonna sign on. Well, Finer said he would sign that letter. Just so you know.
Can I just point out that there have been times, many times that Paul Finer makes it a point to say, the school district is very different is different, a different entity from our town, and I have nothing to do with the school district. So
Get it, but
I'm not sure, but we
Well,
love his support in whatever ways he can support, but he is not, he has no power here.
he knows the people. He has the power to make a phone call and help get the money.
That would be wonderful. We would love
I
him
can't get
to
into
step up, but
specifics, but we'll talk about it.
I know that the town has some connections with one of those foundations.
Yes, like literally to
I've heard.
the foundation.
Yeah.
So would it make sense for you to have two letters, one from Steiner and one from, okay.
That's a good point.
Okay, Adonia, yes, no?
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Okay, Chris? Yes. David, yes. Is Gabriella on the line?
Right.
She have one, or no,
Okay. Megan?
Yes, I support the ask. Can we make the bathrooms for secondary students, please?
Yes.
Okay. Sarah?
Yes.
Linda Lee is not here. Katie?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Jessica is not here. Faisal?
I don't see him anymore.
Oh, all right. And Walter Simon is not here. Okay, so there are no votes, so you got it? I'll
Yes.
forward the recommendation on to the board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there more copies for the board?
Yep, I got these copies. You want me to just leave them?
Yeah.
Yes.
They're all yours. It's like a college.
That's beautiful.
We tried to make it like that, but thank you very much. And we'll just look for the next we just go.
Iteration.
And there's a board meeting soon, right? Or
Another week, yeah.
would that be something that could be discussed or?
What do you think?
We just had, that's where I was coming from, agenda planning. I'll talk to President Maris after this meeting.
Okay, because that would then I would.
Tracy,
It's a
right
full
there.
meeting, so I can't guarantee it, but we'll talk about it.
All right. So at least we're on our way.
Nobody on the first.
I gotta go, I'm sorry.
We'll talk after the meeting. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you all.
Okay. And now on to our regularly scheduled program. Okay, I'll bring up the agenda.
Let me share the screen.
Everyone have a good holiday tomorrow.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay, at the 422 board meeting, we laid out the various projects, that we were gonna spend $600,000 on the water main, that we would go in for the Woodlands Middle High School football turf field, some of its repair, some of its replacement, and then the auditorium sound and lighting. And this was all dependent on our passing the budget, and then we passed the budget. And then we had a special meeting of the board in which we discussed, amongst other things, the business with the water main bid. And if you have your soft packet, could you bring up the
Water main. Okay.
this map? There we go. Okay, so we had a revised map, okay? And the green area is goes from ECP in the bus garage and splits back behind the high school and go in front of the high school. And then the yellow area is the part that services the mansion, and then the blue area is the part that connects us to the Pinewood side water source. And we had, I believe at our last meeting, we talked about that it's important that in a modern water system that you have more than one source. And so the recommendation of the administration, Dennis?
Yep, is to go with the alternate of SC2 from the alternate source from the Pinewood Road. And the main project, and that's speaking with the engineers, from an engineering standpoint, that's the preferred
Option.
option.
And I went mansion, what about the mansion? And the offer was that part of the blue line is that's the eastern side of the Wise Way loop. Goes right up, you see where that the sharp bend is? All right,
Yeah, we have.
go a little down, go a little south towards the high school on that, and there's a point at which you're as close to the mansion as possible, and you could split off
Yeah,
a hydrant.
yeah.
Or maybe a slight extension and be within 80 to 100 feet of the mansion. And so if we do that change order, it will be a lot cheaper than doing the entire loop down to the mansion, which I guess is not friendly soil. I guess it's.
To cover the mansion, there is an existing fire hydrant, 100 and something feet away from where the bend is right there.
Okay, so the thought is that we can have a small change order that deals with that, and the board voted,
hydrant.
right, and it did an additional hydrant to service the mansion, and we go forward. So that's what happened, and go back to the agenda. Okay. That's what happened, base bid, alternate bid SC, total $1,832,000. So
The green water main. Last year. Sorry.
Right.
That's the one you said.
Right, so we have existing funding for the beginning project, and then the secondary money is the second thing. Okay, our existing facilities reserves, you can go on to the next page. As of May 31st, we've got $500,000 in the capital reserve and $779,000 in the repair reserve. Lisa, will that be changing soon?
The 517 will change. Well, they both will change because of interest, monthly interest, but the 517 will change because I put on the agenda for the 24th to transfer the remaining money that was left over from capital construction phase 1, I believe is $1,025,321. That is left over from what the American Rescue Plan assumed, minus the $600,000 that goes to the water main to go to the capital reserve. So that 517 will increase by that $1,025,321 or $312.
Okay, so that's our financial picture in terms of other
And then,
projects.
excuse me, if there's excess fund balance after the 4% and after what you put in reserves, that will go in that capital reserve also, but you won't know that until probably August, September.
And the repair reserve will have a drawdown.
Our repair reserve will have $155,000 drawdown on July 23rd.
What's that?
That's for, if you remember in the budget process, it was for to finish the turf field. That was the 155 that was needed that could be designated as a repair.
Noted on page 1 of this agenda where it says transfer from repair reserve for football field turf.
Gotcha.
So there's currently a public hearing that was opened.
Right.
Public hearing will close the July 23rd special meeting, and that's when the funds will be transferred out of repair reserve into the capital fund. Thank you, so I'm still learning.
Just go back to.
We'll get more into this when we have another finance committee meeting.
I gotta get on there. So real quick, so what goes well with the capital reserve, with everything that you just covered, what would the balance be?
So without the excess, the balance will be 1,540,000, probably 1,545,000 around.
So 1.5. Then if
Then if there's excess fund balance, whatever that is, probably I would say 1 to 2 million will go in there.
an additional, so else 2.5.
That's after we put.
After you put money in.
Yeah, it's those various reserve funds.
Yep.
About the
the amount of money that we're taking from the repair reserve. How'd you come up with that number and did you decide?
Well,
that-
when we knew the three things that Dr. Iverson was recommending to be included in that capital interfund transfer, and we knew what the cost was going to be. So those three things equaled like $1,755,000. So we needed to find $755,000. So we knew we were going to take $600,000 from that excess from the American Rescue Plan that so capital construction phase 1 had. Take 600 of that and put it towards the water main. And then remaining 155, Dennis and Mike had done some research that it can be considered a repair. Therefore, you could take that from the repair reserve to help finish the football field.
Right. I was just considering, I mean, in my time here, it's been very infrequent that we've taken money out of the repair reserve. We don't have a lot of repairs. We have all these replacements and whatever. So I was wondering like if we could have taken more out of the reserve to then free up money for other things, you know, like when, oh, wow, we have an actual repair.
Well, you have to
We have an
remember too
opportunity
that
to use
everything
that
that's
money.
happening on the turf field, it cannot all be considered a repair.
Okay.
So we put that, and then I did recommend to the board, you know, I think I've told you guys this before, you have to by June 30th, say that you're gonna put money in reserves. Okay, you can't do it after July 1 and use money from the previous year. So you set up these resolutions, doesn't mean you have to put money in there. So we did capital reserve, TRS, teacher retirement system, employee retirement system, tax tertiary reserve, and this time it included the repair reserve. Because this committee has spoken before that, you know, it would be nice if that had $1 million in it. So I figured if there was a little excess that if you didn't put everything in those other reserves, you could stick some money in there and start to get that up to the $1 million so that you'd have a nice cushion for repairs when the time comes, when, you know, you're done with projects and Mr. Pugliese wants to do things around that would qualify as a repair.
Movies, for example, remember, there was on the winter time, near the gym, wall.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's when you would touch it.
Well, yeah, that's a more of a replacement because that's the whole window wall.
Okay.
It would be a repair if you only did one section, which you typically wouldn't want to do. You'd like to try to do the whole elevation of a building at once.
Okay.
Yeah, how about repairing, let's just say some of the concrete fell, you know.
Oh, the speed bump is correct.
Yeah,
Right,
the
exactly.
infrastructure, the roadway, that's a repair.
And if it couldn't come out of your current year budget, that's what you did.
That's
You
what you did.
try to use that only
Yep.
for like bigger things or, you know, just one thing, because I know you read the agendas, that's why I was reading the instruction, the resolutions to say not to exceed X amount, because we don't know today how much we might be able to put into those accounts that she mentioned.
Right, so let's just say hypothetically, we have $4 million over the 4%, and I've only asked in those reserves to put 3 million. They can't go back and say, because it said not to exceed, so say one of them says, say the tax tertiary says not to exceed $1.5 million, can't put 2.
So
That's why I go high, so that you know that, I mean, you'll have more than enough wiggle room to put what you need in there.
and you did that with the capital reserve. What's
On
the
the upcoming agenda for next
Right.
week.
Yes.
and the repair reserve, what's the maximum on that?
There's no maximum.
There's no maximum
I
repair
don't believe there's a maximum.
Okay, great.
You can't hoard. money.
Capital we
Capital
specified
reserve, there is
15,
not the
okay.
repair.
Because
You can't hoard money. Yeah, you can't hoard money in there because then the state could come down and say, oh, you're using this to stash money
Right,
in there. But you gotta remember to take money out of a repair reserve, you have to do a public hearing unless it's an emergency. You can pull some, God forbid, a tornado or something comes through here and you had to pull money out of there without doing the public hearing. You have 1 year to put that money back. If you didn't hold a public hearing.
You can transfer, right? You can transfer from another reserve to.
Well, that's what the resolution does, yeah.
Okay, so regarding the publicity, your tax dollars at work, we have all those tripods at all the schools. I've gotten compliments on those. They should be a permanent display. The Highview, gas route, that one piece needs to be replaced. Do we have the
Yes, I have an updated diagram,
Okay.
that I could, actually,
We can have it now.
Yeah, just put it on the existing thing, right? And then, I looked at the sign up I did for the open projects, what the end dates are and the NYSED submission dates, if they're early enough along. And it doesn't appear that anything has changed since the last time we did one, so I just slapped June on. We need to probably have a brag poster that kind of says these projects are done, and then things can move from the in process to the end and then rotate slowly off.
It'd be nice to have a whiteboard that's high enough where people couldn't manipulate it and that you can keep changing.
Yeah, well,
With a ladder or
we need
something.
to figure out how this can become a permanent display, and so we need to add the dates. There've been requests for signage at the Woodlands track so that community members know that the track and field are not permanently closed.
yeah, there are signs there that say, track closed, but not permanently temporary. We would have to have some signs laminated.
There are people who have no contact with the district but live nearby. And so they walk by and they see, the only thing that they know is that there's a sign that the track is closed. And so it's like, there's no hope, right? Because there's no context. Okay. And all right, and with that, I think we should do project status. And can you bring up the BVS architect status? And Mike Messina has been patiently waiting.
Good evening, everybody.
Take it away, yeah.
So, the security vestibule, I'm happy to report it's coming along nicely, and we're out down the home stretch. The contractor's just waiting on a fire shutter to arrive so we can install that, tie it into your fire alarm system. And Dennis and I have been discussing possibly next month having the fire marshal do his walkthrough for certificate of occupancy that we could send to the state afterwards. So that's what I have to report there. Any questions?
But just to be clear, the reason it's not open now, even though it's not in perfect condition, is because we need the certificate of occupancy?
Correct.
Yep, Mike, just an update for today. The fire shutter did show up and they were installing it today.
Perfect.
I have pictures.
Yep.
Great. Any other questions? Okay. Water main project, we kind of touched upon that. There was a kickoff meeting and the contractor is scheduled to mobilize next week upon approval of bonds and insurance, which I think we forwarded over to the district yesterday or today that we received them. And then Nancy has taken over for Francis. Nancy's also been patiently waiting. Nancy, why don't you say hello and you can give a little update on the status of that project.
How you doing? Well, you basically said it all regarding that part. Contractors submitted some submittals that you guys are reviewing. I think you've sent some back already, actually. And yeah, I think he's just looking for approval on his paperwork and he can start working, which is great. He's ready to go. So as long as we have approval on his bonds and insurances, he can get going.
Okay, thank you.
Not much else on that one.
Will the streets be partially closed while, what will be the traffic situation?
I imagine that once we get a construction schedule and Nancy, you can chime in too. We'll have more information to share, but at this point, I think it's a little bit early to see when things are going to be closed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they plan on closing a lot of the roadway, but we'll have plenty of notice if and when they do. But yeah, I think it's too soon to know when exactly that's going to happen right now.
So just to follow up, so you'll have notice. Who will coordinate notifying our neighbors and putting signs at the entrances ahead of the closure to warn people not to plan on using the roads? Or is it gonna be the day we close it is the day we're gonna put up barriers, just to be good neighbors?
No, there needs to be notification several weeks. I'm sorry to interrupt, but there needs to be notification several weeks in advance that starting on X date, this road will be closed because people live here and drive through. They need to have advance notice.
Stone Oaks. Right, well, if we could contact Stone Oaks.
Yeah. But who's the we, what I'm also asking is, who's the we? Will it be you guys telling the district needs to contact?
Correct.
I want it identified clearly so we all don't think that the left hand is doing it and it's really supposed to be the right hand.
Dennis?
Typically, I know that like when we did the water main project, they came up with a plan. We're gonna close half of the roadway and we ran it by the administration. They put it out in the blast to the schools and I believe it went out to the community that we were gonna be partially closing the road. I don't think they're gonna close the road for any substantial amount of time, probably one lane at a time. I know that from talking to the contractors, they were trying to stay in the grassy areas to limit the restoration of the roadway along the side of the road. That's what we had taken up from the first meeting that we had. We're supposed to have another meeting and the details will come out probably a little more then, and then we'll have to discuss this.
And we're coming up on the 27th, when we have graduation.
Yeah, so
that giant thing, obviously, we'll wait till after
afterwards.
graduation. Okay. Okay. Other questions on that project? All right, go ahead. Woodlands Tennis Courts.
Okay. Nancy, you want to give an update on that too?
Sure. Yep. Tennis courts. That's moving along nicely. Actually, they're still on schedule, which is nice, even with all this rain. They've milled the surface. They've cleared all the trees. They've gotten all the drainage structures in, with the exception of the catch basins. I don't think they have them yet. And I don't have a delivery date yet. And I think they're going to start doing the retaining wall over by, I think that's the gym there. I'm not sure what side that is. Maybe Mike can help me with that. I think next week. So that's moving along nicely, actually, which is nice.
Okay.
I had a question about that in the area in which they took so many trees from. Is there plans to develop that area at all?
No, we're gonna put down some wildflower seeds to grow on the bank there. A lot of the trees that were cut down, they were upon further inspection, a lot of them were diseased. If you could look at the stumps over there, there's even some of the smaller ones towards the building. A lot of those trees were showing signs of disease, which is seen by the stumps that are existing. A lot of the center of the trees were rotted to the point where it could have been potentially a problem.
There was supposed to be some stone work, wasn't there, to even out the bed for the tennis courts? And we approved a little change order for that, right? Was that taking place?
That was taking place the other day. I don't know if the work was totally completed or not.
Yeah, that's done.
That's done, okay.
Go along where there's rocks from somewhere else.
Correct, there was some part of the mountain, I guess, as we went into the rock and they just crunched it up and they distributed it because they needed they brought it to the other side of the work area.
So.
Go ahead.
So it's where the trees came out and you're gonna throw wildflower bombs or whatever, is there an issue? I've probably said this before with erosion, like if the retaining wall is on the side near the small gym, the mountain where the trees came out is over here. What's going to prevent the mudslides from going onto the new court? Is there another retaining wall on that side? Or is it just what we hope to plant will hopefully retain the soil?
Yeah, I guess that, the tennis court is elevated, there's drainage around it. We had several inches of rain like the other day and there was no visual erosion coming off over the hill.
Okay, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good.
One question.
Well,
Yes.
that's, okay.
Are they gonna have any stand for, people, to watch? Is that part of the,
Is it portable
like,
bleachers or is it
The
built
bleachers,
in?
right, do the aluminum bleachers, right.
I mean, there are people who come there, the team, so some people average 20, 30 people. Has anybody thought about that?
Are there portable bleachers, may I rephrase? Are there going to be portable bleachers like we have for other sports in the area? Or part of the retaining wall or whatever we do on the mountain? Are we building in like steps that could be used as seats? Like does that help?
Yeah.
We'll have to buy.
I've been asking if we're gonna, I feel like I didn't get a full answer about that area. I think you called it a mountain, Chris, and that is how it looks from the length of the bottom where the tennis courts are, all the way to the side where all those trees were removed, whether they were rotten or not. That's a mountainous area. And that's why I was asking, is that gonna be developed? Mr. Morton's asking about seating. That would be a great location and area for seating, but is that area going to be developed at all?
So there's still a lot of grading that needs to be done. It's hard to tell you right now what the finished grade is looking at it. He's probably stockpiling material there as well, and Nancy could probably add to that as well.
Correct.
But once they're all done, the grading, like Dennis said, the courts aren't going to be at the level that you currently see dug out, right? There's going to be sub base put down and everything gets raised up. So what it looks like today is not what the finished product is going to look like. So I think it's a little premature to say what that area, the finished look is going to be. You might want to put bleachers there, you might not want to. But we can look at it again with the contractor and with Savin and see, if there's additional grading that you want to do to add more seating capacity. We can look at that as well.
In person? And
Say that louder.
Because a bunch of things are running through my mind. So will you guys be coming out here to see that grading in person?
Yes, we're there every week, and Savin is there every day. So as it's being done right now, he's just moving earth around. It's hard to tell where things are going to wind up being once he's all done.
Okay.
So.
And just while you're all here together in that meeting, I know there's a huge area that's been dug out because we had a paved area and then we had the tennis court area, and I believe it's all going to be resurfaced to some effect. So some people are asking what's going to happen with that other area that's not the tennis courts and that's not for spectators. So hopefully when you're out here in person having these meetings, there's also conversation with the building principal as far as
Tetherball.
that's outdoor basketball court, but I mean, that's not part of the remit, but as far as just for future, just to build in the future.
There have been some conversations, with the tennis courts, possibly, a hitting wall. Something of that sort, that was
I
discussed.
would also include the building principal in that conversation, because there have been multiple other ideas thrown out by others. So, and again, not to build it into the scope, but just to future-proof what's being done so that we don't have to undo things later. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Ready, Pat? Could we address the track?
Sure. Nancy, you want to give an update on that too?
Sure. So the track, it's a little behind. They did start later than anticipated, for a couple of different reasons, but only by a week or so. They milled the existing track surface. They removed all the fencing. They removed the scoreboard. Obviously the permanent fencing was removed. Now they have construction fence up. I think you guys have already seen that. And then they've removed all the topsoil. They've expanded the 2 outer lanes. And they've brought in some new item that's been being graded. He's tweaking some of the milled existing track surface just to kind of make sure the elevations and the grading is good. And I think they're supposed to start, what are they doing next week? Let me check my notes 1 second. Oh no, that was for the tennis courts, I'm sorry. Yeah, all the topsoil has been stripped, D zones, and now I think we're coordinating with the Lantec portion, and we're waiting for the contractor to kind of coordinate his schedule with Land Tech to see where we end up. So the contractor owes us that, I think, by the end of this week. So we'll have a better idea as where we're going to be overall.
Okay, so we would hold the substantial completion date is 8/22. We'll leave it alone for now?
For now, yes.
Okay.
Oh, wait. I'm so sorry to interrupt again, because I've been asking about homecoming, so y'all know the board knows where I'm interested in. David, you said the target date is 8 what?
22.
8/22 to be completed, and I just heard Miss Barbera say it's delayed.
Correct, but she said they don't know where they're gonna be yet until they talk to, they have an interdependency with another group. So they might make it up or they might not. So she said, don't slip the end date yet.
Correct.
8/22 is right now, we could make it.
And then what about the field?
Right.
Right now, the field itself will be done before the track because that's just how it works. So that's why the track contractor is coordinating his schedule with the field contractor to see where they're together. Because it has to be done in conjunction. But one has to go in front of the other. So they have to, settle their coordination together so that we can see where we end up. And he's in the middle of doing that. So I don't have that answer. So for now, let's just assume that we're going to finish it.
President Mayor, I see homecoming is October 18th. I think they should have enough wiggle room. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Did you hear me? I know I'm a horse.
I'm hoping so. I'm looking at these people and they're saying it's gonna happen, so I hope so.
Well, if our homecoming is October 18th, ideally, when would y'all need to be done? Delays or not with everything? When do you need to be done? Like, let's say there's a delay. What time of September is like the ultimate cutoff so we can make homecoming October 18th?
I mean, I would anticipate everything being done by then, unless something major, happens. But I can't predict the future. So
is there gonna be a date that if it's not done for whatever reason? I mean, we want it done right. So if it's not done or there's some delay, the communication to the parents and the students, most importantly, that are gonna have their homecoming affected. That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's too far ahead to plan right now. Let's see what we get back from the contractors and let's go from there. I mean, it's still only June, so that's good.
And I talked to the AD a little bit today, and he said he was checking out what home stadiums are available for the time of homecoming in the worst case. And he mentioned Edgemont. I don't have it. He doesn't have it firm yet. Megan?
Edgemont, is that?
I haven't looked at that. Megan?
I just haven't been following on the field turf for the replacement of it. Are we lining the field for football, soccer, and lacrosse?
Michael, I can't answer that. I'm not sure.
I don't know the answer to that. Sorry.
I believe it was just football. I have an approved drawing.
And soccer.
And soccer, yes.
We don't have a lacrosse team currently, so. The color one.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
Yeah, I think there's a rendering on the back of this. You guys are looking at. I'm not sure if it shows you lines or anything.
Yeah, right now there's just that purchase order that we saw. We weren't involved in the design, but when the contractor submits the shop drawings for it, we will review it with the district. And at that point in time, if there's modifications that need to be made for lining, they can be made at that point in time.
Okay. Other questions on the running track? Okay. Roof replacement.
That's substantially complete with the exception of the perimeter wood blocking, which they're currently working on. And he's waiting on the metal fascias, the material itself, and I think that's scheduled to come on site sometime in mid-July. So he should be out of there hopefully by the beginning of August.
Okay, good. And then Highview Elementary School partial window replacement?
That's complete with the exception of some shades that we're waiting for them to be ordered and installed. I think they were field measured recently. So that's the only thing. Otherwise, all the windows are in and they look great.
Good. District-wide energy performance contract.
So the only thing I have updated on this is the proposal that was requested for the concrete wall, the block wall around the unit, and I believe that it was not approved at the last board meeting.
It was not approved at the last board meeting. We had, as of a month ago, we didn't know how much it cost.
Right.
And so right, so we had this presentation by you guys of kind of what it would look like and where the doors were, and then it's like, well, big question mark, and it's like, yeah, a whole order of magnitude more expensive than we thought, and so we haven't formally recommended or not recommended anything to the board because we didn't have the numbers in front of us. So now, well, I was hoping Walter Simon would come, but yeah, we'll hit this again. It's in our list later on, and we'll see if we want to make a decision. Okay.
Bailey roof.
Yeah.
That is substantially complete, actually. BBS did a walkthrough this week, and the roofing manufacturer is scheduled to be there on Friday. So once we get those two reports, there'll probably be a few punch list items, and that'll be the end of it.
Okay. Woodlands High School Science Lab, 314 gas service recon and eye wash stations.
Okay, so that project was bid the same time as the water main. Unfortunately, the only two bidders put a number in for it, and they were both significantly over budget. So our recommendation to the district was to just include that work in the future science lab project, being that it's so small in nature, and we'll incorporate that into that project going forward.
Do you think that bidding with the larger project meant that there were small bidders who could have been there and
no, you had a good pickup. There were only two people that put numbers in. I think it was due to the sheer size of it. And honestly, I think they just threw a number out there to see if you were willing to pay that much money for it, and they would come do the work, but there probably wasn't enough meat on the bone for them to do it.
Okay, so it's small.
It was too small. Yeah. Yeah. And the gas line we're gonna do anyway with the science labs. It's really just the eye wash stations. So we'll add the one additional now into the nurse's office to meet that requirement as part of the science lab project.
Chris?
Ms. Raymond, is that the DASNY money that was
Yes.
sacrificed by, and is there a, what's your name, somebody,
Shimsky.
and, there's no deadline
No.
for, okay.
I get emails probably every other month asking status, and I just have to give them an update.
And so science teacher just got tenured, so I said, so now that you can speak freely, what do you want? He said, build my lab. So there's enthusiasm, okay, that there's a desire for this to come about. Okay, roof replacement, Highview, go ahead.
Do you want to scroll up? There you go. And next page. Thank you. So the next two projects, they're just on here from last time. We're just waiting until September, October to bid those two roofs. This Woodland Science Lab renovation, we've completed our design development phase. This past Thursday, we had our last meeting. There's some minor changes we're gonna make as requested, and I think there's just one open question back to the Jennifer, who's been heading up the dialogue with the team there, department there of science teachers. So we're going to start doing the construction documents over the next month or two, with anticipation of submitting sometime the end of July. And then I put on here construction management services. I think at this point in time, Savin has sent in their proposal to the district to extend their services. I just want to go on record as saying it's very critical for the success of the project due to the tight construction schedule requirements over a 6-week summer schedule. To get all that work done in 2 phases each summer, you're going to have multiple shifts of workers going on, and it's too much for a facilities person to handle the coordination and requirements that are required to get that work done properly. So, in addition to getting construction manager on board, when we're up at SCD, is a good time to give the plans to the construction manager and ask them to estimate the project again to make sure we're staying in budget. And if there's revisions that we need to make or things we need to make decisions about as far as casework style, furniture, maybe some of the wants, not needs, that were requested during design development. There's that time built in there when the CM comes back with the estimates to say, okay, let's try to value engineer now before we go out to bid. What things do we make as alternates to the project? Especially that you're bidding this over 2 summers. You don't want to go in and blow all the budget after the first phase of work gets done, and then you have no money left over for the second phase. So I just wanted to put that on this agenda, on this update, and hopefully, over the next few months, there's a decision that's made as far as the construction manager goes. Any questions about that?
Right?
Yes, and I
Right,
agree.
and
There's
we're not saying
an
anything, but
amount
yeah.
of coordination there. There's probably gonna be 2, possibly 3 shifts to get this work done. Somebody's gonna have to be watching the operation, several hours on different shifts.
Okay.
It's a lot of coordination to make this a successful project so that the students have a classroom to get back into in September.
Right.
And just to be clear too, for the committee, we build in to our estimate initially for this project so that you have the soft cost money there to absorb that fee. So, it's built into the project already. I was just, when I heard that they hadn't been retained a few months ago, I was like, oh boy, we need to just make sure that this is brought to center for everyone to know it is critical. Something needs to be done about it.
Thank you.
Okay. And then the last thing is the field turf replacement. I just added that to this list. I'm sorry. Yep.
All right, I just wanted to go back to the roofs. I keep probably asking this. We did the roofs at this building, the Woodlands Middle High School, and also Highview.
No, Bailey.
Bailey. My point is, we did those during the school year, at night, etc. Our roof replacements at Highview and Jackson say forecast bidding in September, October for construction in the summer. Is there any way that can actually be done during the school year like we did these other roofs? Why? Because we have summer school and camps and whatnot. And if we did it with 2 other buildings, why not for the next set of roofs?
That's a question for me. I guess.
I mean, typically, if it goes out to bid that way, second shift is more money, there's lights involved. Also, I know that the roofer at this building, you have to worry about the students being disturbed. You don't want to disrupt the education of students. What time in the afternoon could you start? The elementary schools typically run a little bit longer than the high schools dismiss earlier, so that's an hour or so. You're picking up a day right there. That would be, that's a conversation that, would need to take place if it was gonna be bid that way.
And again, we're not gonna bid now because why are we waiting until September, October?
So there's a couple of reasons for that. Right now, you're in the middle of the busy season for the roofers. So people are gonna come bid now are gonna throw a large number at it because they're already booked. You're actually benefited last year when we bid it, when we did around that time last fall, because you're in front of the line. Everyone's trying to load up their jobs for the following spring. And I guarantee you, most likely whoever gets awarded those 2 roofs is gonna ask the question, can we start sooner? Even though we put the dates on there for the summer work to happen, they're gonna want to get it done quicker. So I think that you'll have those same discussions we had this past year, come the end of this year for next summer to the district, with the contractors asking, can we get in there sooner? Can you allow us to work nights, weekends, whatever?
So remember, you're gonna have to coordinate it with your funding, and you gotta remember about future budgets when you take this bond. Your ban is gonna roll into a bond, so you need to plan for when that first payment is going to be due. Everything is strategic.
Gotcha.
Land the ban. Got it.
So, sorry, and maybe I shouldn't do this right now. So you're saying they'll most likely want to accelerate the work.
That's what they.
This time.
So it doesn't behoove us to say, hey, give us another alternate for doing it. We should just let them ask.
Then you're gonna get
I will start.
more favorable, you're probably gonna get a favorable number,
Gotcha.
Good.
typically.
Okay, thank you.
You did very well this past time around with the roof numbers that came in. And I think it's due to that fact that we bid it when we did. We have several clients that waited till later to do it, and then you're seeing roofers just get booked, materials go up. These guys are booking and basing their number on what they think the cost is gonna be for material, knowing that if they get it out there and ordered sooner, they'll make up money that they might potentially lose on a bid. So.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Okay.
I did worse.
No, good. No, you got a different answer.
Yes.
And you learned something and I learned something. Good. Okay. All right, Woodland
too.
High School field turf replacement.
Okay, so the last, I just added this in here because, BDS was asked, we put in a proposal for just construction administration and post-construction project closeout, for that portion of the work, being that it's a purchase order. And I'm just putting on here that, we were not, part of the design, so there's some exclusions, as you probably saw if you read our proposal. But we are, as I said, going to the meetings now. We already met with Land Tech. We'll review their shop drawings and they get submitted, and we'll go through the same processes we would if we picked it up during construction administration from step 1. So that's all I got.
Okay, very good. Let's at this point go through the pictures. Start, yeah, okay.
Start. There.
Okay. So Dennis, what are we looking at?
We are looking at the gas line from the energy performance project on Pinewood Road. Those are the abrasive stair treads, anti-slip that were installed at R.J. Bailey Elementary School.
On all the stairs?
On the stairs, correct. That is the
Riley Pond. And there had been there's a student at R.J. Bailey who said, it's time to do a cleanup. And I don't know, so I took a picture of Riley Pond.
Okay.
I'm going all the way up to.
Thank you.
I'm gonna take me 2 hours to get home. Thank you for the flowers, thank you for the cookies, I'm sure I'll see you both.
Stay home.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That is the shutter that we talked about. It was just delivered today and installed today.
So that's
They're
where,
working on it actually this afternoon.
right, and we thought it was gonna go over the exterior windows and couldn't figure out how it's gonna fit between the pillar, and it's inside the booth.
Track and field, these are the track and field.
That's the signage as it stands, right? So if you knew nothing. And they're way in the back behind the completed,
Solar carport, there was some debris from years and years ago. I guess it was playground equipment, stuff that was, they used it as a landfill years ago.
Mr. Warner, that sign that was on the fence, is there any way we could get, the track and field closed, do not enter, but is there any way we can get something like that that says your tax dollars at work? I did get some feedback that the
Yeah.
signs were awesome that are inside the schools, but you have to be inside the schools to see it. Is there a way for like non-school, non-parent, I know what I'm trying to say, I'm sorry, I'm tired. Non-parent folks to be able to see signage saying your tax dollars at work?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
some talk about laminating something and, zip tying it onto the fence possibly, temporarily.
Right.
While under construction, your tax, we could probably
Do that.
do
You
something
could, you
like
could
that.
actually even put a QR code and have it attached to your tax dollars working, and then they can see the
Make
whole
it figure it out.
project, because everybody carries their phone out there.
Okay.
How's the Wi-Fi?
I was just gonna say.
That's another project.
Yeah, there's a stair treads again.
Up close, yeah. Riley Pond.
This is the security vestibule. From the inside of Woodlands looking towards the outside of the building right now. Picture of stair treads at Bailey, it looks like. This is the track and field area, the fencing that's being removed. That's the picture of the battery energy storage system.
How close it is to the carport, how far away?
Yeah. Just put a scale up, and here's some pictures of the bank that were as the tennis courts were set back into the hillside more, we had to take out more trees than originally, by swapping the courts, the tennis courts moved back into the mountain.
Right.
Was there cracks in the asphalt pavement made by equipment going back there to remove the trees?
No, those sidewalks have been like that for
Eons.
a lot of people didn't even know that there were sidewalks back there.
Other side of Riley Pond. Police Department Courthouse.
There's the security vestibule. It's starting to really take shape now. It's, we're just about ready for punch list items now that the door is being installed, where the project really took off. So from inside the security vestibule, the
No, it's
office.
the high view walls.
Oh, that's a high view, I'm sorry, that's the high view window walls.
And they're showing the window opens.
Yep. That's the tennis court project.
What?
No, not anymore. Just another picture of the security vestibule from the outside. This is the side pond down by the kitchen area. More pictures of the security vestibule. This is the ECP staff parking lot. There was a block retaining wall that was in disarray. It was removed and rebuilt with this, and we're going to be installing fencing on the top of this. Parapet. And here, that's the other side. This looks like it's the high view wind doors that were installed as part of the project. Another picture of the bank, and if you look, on that tree right there, it looks like there's a hole. Like some of these trees, you could actually see that they were diseased.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So quite a few of them, and even like partially up, but a lot of the stumps there that we had
Are they gonna be taken out?
But the stumps, there wasn't any plans for that.
No.
at this point.
You let the ground cover
Root structure
fill in.
needs-
Yep, to help hold everything together, that's probably what's good for runoff. Here is a new tree that was planted in front of the ECP Teacher Center buildings.
They're into the side pond.
Yep, the side of the pond.
Oh, yeah.
There are bullfrogs back there, by the way.
This is just the front of the Woodlands High School.
And the guys with their rolling.
The guys that were
door.
storing the roll-up doors today.
Dennis, real quick, how long is it gonna be before they finalize the roof, up there?
The coping that
Yeah.
the materials being ordered, I would expect probably within the next month and a half or so, of course. Yeah, another month or so. You know,
During
the
summer.
coping, yeah, during the summer that will be finished up. These are the window walls at Highview
From the outside.
from the outside. And this structure is, much more, sturdier. You used to be able to push on the whole classroom and you would like,
You look like you're
almost
buckled.
push the whole side of the building down. No, that was more of the bank. Previous picture was a picture of the gas lines.
That's showing that it hasn't been connected yet.
Correct. More pictures of the window wall at Highview. And these are our easels, the tax dollars at work.
On election day, 100 feet from the.
More pictures of the windows at Highview. This is pictures of the mansion. We saw a lot of these during the presentation earlier in the night.
Right.
Just
This is the pond that the community member, are you on? You talked about the duckweed and or algae?
Well, that's, needs rain.
Maybe not, okay.
okay.
That needs rain.
No, I'm on, I'm just unmuted.
Yeah, did you want to say anything?
No, I just wonder, as I said to you in the letter that I wrote, that I'm concerned because I've lived here a long time and, the pond always maintained its height of water even through a drought from May to September. And ever since they put in the mulch for the track people around the perimeter of the pond, when there's no rain, the pond dries up. So I'm just wondering, well, they've already done the mulching around the perimeter, so I guess that's going to continue. And it does affect the wetlands, around the pond. And I'm just concerned, that we had a lot of wildlife that used to come through, and it was very beautiful to look at. And now it's kind of like disgusting. And then if we have a drought and it dries up again, maybe I was thinking some of the students could use make a WISE project out of it and clean it up at least, so that when it does rain again, we'll have, a cleaner pond.
Zoom in a little bit, there's
Yeah.
a deck out there, right? Is that from the science department?
It's like a little dock.
Yeah.
Right.
And the kids the science teachers used to do stuff with them, like take bottles of water and do whatever they were doing, testing it and stuff. And it really hasn't, most of you guys probably come in from the other directions, from West Hartsdale Avenue, so you don't see it like those of us that live here do. And, we've had deer, we've had great blue herons, snowy egrets, a lot of wildlife. And I'm just concerned that, it could be in a better condition than it is, and maybe the kids could get involved. That was my point.
Okay, I know that historically the Superstorm Sandy came along and a bunch of trees that were right where those tall weeds are fell down. And they actually did some cleanup of the pond and got rid of those trees or the remains of those trees. And then, of course, there's all this sunlight. And if you have lots of hours of sunlight, then duckweed can proliferate. So that That's what the duckweed is doing there, and I don't know,
Yeah,
can you
it's-
scrape it out?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the mulch is concerned, the trails have been getting mulched for since before I got here.
2012.
We maintain them, so nothing's really changed with the mulching along there. We just we replenish it, you know, because the cross-country kids, they run the course through there, but
So
I guess what you could do is you could probably have this, you know, the science class maybe go with
Well,
waders.
Mr. Washington would probably be a contact, cause he knows more about that pond on a scientific level. Because you also brought up that the environment is changing, not, you know, and that part of it.
Well, that's part of it also.
So, he would be a contact person.
So why would there be any connection between the mulch and the pond drying up?
Because there was, if you Google, it says if you touch the perimeters of a pond, it can affect the water table around it. And that's what happened. The previous superintendent we had, I had a meeting with her and I pointed out that, look, this was fine before. For 35 years that I've lived here, we've always had water in the pond, even throughout the driest seasons. One year we didn't have a drop of water from May to September, and that pond was full. So something's changed. What changed? The only thing that changed is they started doing the mulching of those trails.
Trees being gone mean that there's greater evaporation?
I really don't know. All I know is that that's when it started to happen. It happened when they started that summer that they put the mulch around the perimeters of the pond. Next thing you know, we had some dry spells. Pond was drier than a bone. And so that's what I found. And I had a meeting with the superintendent who said, oh, no, it had nothing to do with that. But that was the only, if you see something change, you always ask, what's different? That's the only thing that was different in all those years. So my concern is, again, we're going to have that. By the way, I fell in January walking on the trail behind the pond and fractured my kneecap and was in a brace for 9 weeks. So that was exciting. But, I just, I would like it to be something, even the pond up by the cafeteria. It's just it was beautiful. We had a fountain in there. We had aeration. And now if you go by there, it's really sad. It's all mucked up and everything else. I just think, we have beautiful property. It would be nice to have those two ponds be in better shape. And I'm just wondering if the kids could get involved and clean them up and go back to maybe aeration. Those of you that have been here for a while, the pond up by the cafeteria had like water things coming up, so that aerated the pond back there.
Yeah.
Do you know, is that?
That was broken, I guess, years ago, and it would have to be redone.
How much do those things cost?
That I don't have an exact number. I know we looked at the time. It was,
That's plumbing.
yeah, it's plumbing and electrical work, and it's.
I'll also just say that I'm sure, I've been 35 years, but the pond we're looking at now is a vernal pond, which means it waxes and wanes. It gets low, high, and there are factors. I mean, there are tons of creatures. I've seen everything you've named and a whole lot more. But we don't know what's happening under the surface. You have turtles that burrow underneath, and the water, there's a drainage thing on the other side of the road. We don't know who's burrowing what, because we have observed additional drainage on the stream on the other side of the road. So we don't know all the causes. I don't think any of us are pretending to be scientists. I think we do have people that do take kids out there for various projects. I can't claim to know who does what exactly this year, but I think these are good questions that we could pursue through research and through our science department.
I know there was an attempt to.
I would know duckweed can be beneficial to some of the creatures that live there. So it's not always bad, right? Okay.
So my feeling is that this pond should be the natural pond that they go out and study what nature looks like. And then the pond next to the driveway is, you just want to keep as many animals alive Right, so the geese in there and the
There's
bullfrogs and,
there's fish in there.
right, and a great,
Birds that are.
great blue heron I've seen at Briley Pond, so, but that's because, you know, it's a bigger pond.
Yep, I've seen them down here, the other pond too, down by the cafeteria.
Yeah.
So if we fix up anything, it should probably be the pond
As
next
far
to
as the
school.
artificial
Right.
rainfall.
Right,
for the ground.
okay,
But that's to research, it sounds like.
yes, okay, great. Have we exhausted all the pictures?
Hold on. Sorry. a second. So, yes.
Okay. Jessica Muldoon.
Of course, I start coughing now. I just wanted to share that with your taxes at work billboards, I was up at Highview for a Cub Scout meeting and engaged some parents around them, and they were so excited to see some of the work. Like someone commented on the ECP main building, work had been done on the stairs. Just I think everybody something that they're looking at, and it's a piece everywhere you go around the district. They make a huge impact. So I just wanted to really thank Mr. Pugliese for all the work he's been doing. People are noticing and commenting, and it was really exciting to have those conversations with people. So thank you.
Good, good. Okay, we should now go to, smaller projects.
All right.
Take it away, Dennis.
Yep, there's ongoing energy performance projects at all the buildings. This is on here from last time. The lighting's been completed, the weather stripping and insulation mostly complete, the window caulking, the heating controls. That part of the project's virtually done. We're waiting now on tying in the gas lines at the buildings around the meters and finishing the tie-ins from the Con Ed part of the deal over at LF Jackson. They have to come and meet us at the roadway, and we have to continue down from Pinewood down to the gate. There was the water issue put a damper on what we had to do. We had a meeting there last week. They're gonna put a bend in the pipe, but they're also gonna need to close the roadway down for a couple hours, you know, during for 2 or 3 days, you know, with the planes.
After graduation.
After graduation, so we'll have to work out the logistics of that. At the ECP main building, we had the concrete wall that we looked at was replaced. The fence is they're fabricating the fence. I expect it to be installed in the next several weeks. LF Jackson, we had the roof repaired above the cafeteria and the corridor adjacent to the custodial office hallway. We've had several rains and it seems to be doing the job. The gas line trench work on the school grounds was completed. We're awaiting the Con Ed hookup on First Street and the meter installation. The parking lot should be expanded. This has been on here for a while.
We need to get the Juniper Hill Civic Association to chime in.
I think we should also, I think it also needs to be wrapped into a discussion of 5-year plans. And if we're gonna do an addition there, frankly, that's my one person opinion. I don't want to do work just to undo it.
Highview, we looked at the window walls in the 3rd grade project, which is completed. We're awaiting punch list items now. The gas pipe installation is complete. We're waiting for the meter installation. RJ Bailey, we saw the adhesive strips on the stairs. Woodlands. This isn't on the agenda right now, but the curb was repaired and the blacktop restored around the water main break that we had over the winter. Construction we saw is resumed on the vestibule and it's substantially coming to completion now. The gas pipe installation is complete inside and around the building after the meters. We talked about completing the trench work on the Pinewood gate side. We replaced a transformer in the one of the suites in the principal's offices. The sidewalk next to the country club on Juniper Road and the paving done, and that was the pictures from last week. Item 4 was spread on the football field driveway to fill the potholes. We put a bunch of millings in the roadway and smoothed that out quite a bit. We're going to recommend to defer paving the road until after the energy performance, the track and the fields and all the big trucks finish doing their work down there.
So not just the EPC, like all of the track.
Correct, yeah.
And is that the last of it for now? I'm wondering, I saw.
I mean, once these two projects are done?
I was at the agenda planning meeting, so I know
Yep.
there's a contract for next year's paving services that you bumped a little bit.
We-
Is that for
In
that?
anticipation, we'd like to finish the roadway. Some of it's, there's a little section of paved and then it's horrible and it's dirt and there's item 4 and gravel.
It's
now.
like there's a
Milling.
stream that's just barely below the surface of the.
So going back to my.
Ground, yeah.
Yeah,
Wanting to do
so-
work and then having to do it.
Correct.
Right.
We're trying to wait until the projects are done. This way we could,
But it's next school year, that's why that's been,
correct.
okay, sorry.
Hopefully,
I didn't know if there was other paving.
maybe
work.
even this budget year, we get the fields and the track done. And we extend the roadway and make it a smooth path now that, for the big opening debut for the fields.
Mhm.
That's what we'd like to say. Let's see. What we have.
Edward Eller.
Okay, sorry.
The solar panels. And the foundation work for the best station. That's pretty much complete now, the solar panels. Let's see, committee, you remember, and then when we talked about
here it is.
you wanna take over for this for a little bit here, trustee Warner?
Okay, committee members suggested we enclose the battery energy storage system in a concrete sleeve as per town of Greenburgh standards. Cost estimates range from $213,000 to $237,000. It's probably those fireproof doors we saw on the design. Hartsdale Fire Chief indicates wall is not relevant to fighting the fire since the plan is to keep the public away and let it burn out. And I guess eventually the battery company sends its drones and whatever and they check it out, but what is our recommendation, right? So the question is, do we well, great, and the chief proponent of that was Walter Simon, who is not here. Should we put this off until fall? And I
That's
don't
the
know. if we
last
can.
item, sorry, that's the last item on closing out the EPC.
Yeah,
project.
maybe
Yeah,
We
they're
just-
gonna close this project.
Yeah,
out.
we can't.
All right, so in other words, we should go forward as best we can.
Yes.
Okay, so why don't you bring up the picture of the
Please.
yeah, if you've got a hard copy of your agenda, it's the last page in the packet. Right?
Jessica's raising her hand.
And if it's not sitting there where you can see it, then look at the May version of the project status, right up there in the left-hand corner.
May?
May,
Okay,
because it was like a page 4 or something.
gotcha. Oh,
There it is,
yeah.
that's the sample of another project that's happening in the town of Greenburgh, and then the next page with the big red rectangle. Next page. There we go. Is it? Okay, and Jessica I think it was Jessica Muldoon.
Yeah. Quick question, just a refresher, was the purpose of this wall because it's a town mandate, or is it to protect the battery area from any vandalism or fire protection? Like what is the main purpose for building it?
I believe the main purpose was fire protection. So I think the other project was sitting in the middle of a parking lot and they didn't want, people parking their cars next to it and then the thing burst into flames and flames began to spread and cause mayhem.
Okay, so
So-
we got the chief's opinion on if it was for fire
Opinion.
protection, we got the chief's opinion.
Once
Okay.
we get there, once he, brings his fire trucks down and cordons it off, then the concrete wall will not help him fight the fire because his strategy is to wait it out.
Stay indoors and don't breathe the air.
Right, and of course, these batteries tend to burn for days. So that's his point of view, so, and I think, Dennis, what was your point of view?
Oh, I would defer to the fire chief. I mean, you wanna have a gate around this thing, but the fire chief did say that it wasn't gonna make a difference. It wasn't tall enough to make a chimney, and he said you can't. You can't predict where the wind is gonna blow, and this isn't tall enough to make a difference to. Surrounding where the wind's gonna blow the flames,
Right.
smoke and whatever
I
else
just-
is burning.
Go ahead.
I just think that, based on, we have a fire chief who understands what kind of fire we have. And if he's recommending that we don't need it and then let the fire burn out, I just recommend we don't go with the expense of putting the wall up.
Okay. Anybody else wanna make any comments? Yeah, go ahead.
If no one else, and I'll just say this. So one of the options is to do the wall. Another option, if we don't do the wall, is that money is still within the scope of the project, to see if there's another item that was on the list of things that could be done instead. And the third option would be that this money would go towards, basically paying down the interest, and as that savings could go towards paying down the, interest on the bond, which is of course a zero cost to the district because it comes out of savings, but just to put it out there.
Okay,
This was part of the budgeted, I
We-
thought this was extra.
The dollar amount is within, we have. Let's say we budgeted, I don't know, let's just say we budgeted $10, we used $9 of it, there's $1 left. It could be used for this, it could be used for other scope, or it could go to pay down the project and save on some stuff. And
Yeah, there
do
were
our
some other things that I had to
investment
look
faster.
at, some maintenance type, some pumps, some valves, some other things that I did have them look at for different little something in all the different buildings, and they're coming back with a proposal of, how much it would be, and at
Because
this
remember,
point,
we had to reduce the scope initially to get within the budgeted amount that the voters had approved, and now because there were additional savings. That's where all this comes in.
How far away is this from the trees? Like, is there
sure,
any-
it shows the picture, the photograph of the
the
battery
fire
energy
chief
storage
didn't think there
system.
was
Yep, 1 second.
A high risk of like the. Woods.
Oh, it's this one.
Yeah, just zoom, blow it up and zoom in. Okay. So
With a wind.
right now, the plan is to put a chain link fence around it, and if we go for the order, then you get the big concrete wall rectangle with the 2 doors.
yeah, the initial project came with a fence around it, for maintenance and such, and to keep people away, and the concrete version, that was the upgrade. So the
certainly
other,
work.
the regular gate was included in the project.
Right, so you wouldn't build the regular gate, you'd build the concrete version. So there's probably
The picture kind of makes it look like it's right next to the tree, but there's actually space behind there.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of,
And quite a bit of space behind there.
Again, I want, I want to put posts around it so nobody parks next to it. I want to drive posts into the ground, the.
Bollards.
Yeah, bollards,
Yeah,
keep you,
yeah.
they keep you at a distance from the,
or you could put the little, like the concrete, like the dividers, that
Yeah.
you link up together, the big
Yeah.
blocks.
Put those around.
That's probably even better.
Yeah.
Yep. More effective also.
okay, so shall we take a vote?
Other committee members?
Whoever, well. This is, It's, yeah, getting late. Donya's gone. Chris? You want the wall, do you want the wall?
I do not want the concrete wall.
Okay. I want the concrete wall. Yeah. Gabriella, is Gabriella here?
Is it just those people? No.
Megan, Sarah?
Mhm.
Linda, Katie? Katie?
Katie, I guess I'm okay without the wall.
Okay. Steve?
Don't need the wall.
Jessica?
I'm against all walls.
What a little 50 billion, okay. Faisal? And Walter Simon's not here. Okay, so the nays have it. So. As designed. Okay. Done. And let's see where we're. Back to the agenda. The memorial, you want to continue with that?
Okay, you're good.
Trustee Warner? Yeah. You good? Oh, the groundwater, I'll take, yeah, we did have a meeting with the town, last week again. The suggestion was possibly get an engineer involved. Mike from BBS, you still, on with us?
No.
I think he hopped off.
Okay, but the plan was the next time the engineer was out, for the tennis courts and such, so we were gonna take a look. To, we have to come up with a proposal from an engineering point to present to the town. There is a storm drain that runs under the roadway and it does tie into one of the storm drains on the other side of Pinewood. One of the theories and thoughts was we could put it, it's a jailhouse extension on one of the create a manhole. And tie it into the existing pipe so that the groundwater that's under the ground and it's permeating out from the telephone pole on the other side of the property right now, that would absorb some of the groundwater that seems to be coming through the abandoned slash fiber optic clay pipes that are coming across. So do you, all right, so you have you take that water in and then are you going under the street or are you going around behind the
Creating,
houses?
so right now the water goes under the street, at the bottom of the football, the soccer field. There's the stream, the water comes through the pond, it goes under the road and
Right.
meanders down around and it collects just before the houses there.
Right.
And it goes in a culvert pipe under the roadway and it eventually ties in to Pinewood. Somewhere with the groundwater, the water appears to be finding the path of least resistance through the.
We dug a hole and filled it with sand, and so, yeah, okay.
And there is the fiber optic. Tunneling, there's nothing in it, but that's the water seems to be finding its way and meandering through that way. To get. Some of the water that's collected in there to go. Down, it's finding its way through the telephone pole for one reason or another.
Right.
So the theory is if we were to collect some of that water, the groundwater is probably a foot under the ground in most areas where it comes out, that would dissipate and alleviate some of the problems on the Pinewood Road. So that's where we're at right now.
Okay. Fair enough. Go ahead.
Let's see. So that was that, you want to talk about the field dedication for after Edward Eller?
Gosh, it sure would be nice if we could dedicate the field to Edward Eller when it opens back up and we have the brand new track and the brand new field. We can get a plaque.
And I'm just gonna say, the revision of the
The
policy.
revision, that's part of the,
Is
that's,
not, hold on, you have to be very clear, because you're calling me out twice here.
Yes.
The revision of the purchasing policy is not hindering the purchase of a plaque. You can still get bids, and if there's not enough bidders.
sole
there's a
source.
Sole source,
Okay,
it doesn't, there's no
Mhm.
barrier, because we have a revised policy for different dollar limits.
But we also need to know, did you guys have a discussion of what the plaque should say? That was what we left off with, you know, the discussion with you guys in cabinet / the superintendent and the board. What does the plaque want, what do we want the plaque to say?
Yeah, 25 words.
The wording, that's kind of where we are also too.
We've got,
So we need to look back.
Those like a letter.
recommendation.
right. All right, so how
Is that
many words on
David
the plaque? All right.
Take my name off of it. No.
Words on plaque. And we can, that's something we can do, okay.
Yeah.
And then we talked about the diseased trees on the tree slopes and near the tennis courts and how we're gonna try to plant some ground cover, help prevent erosion. The mansion, one broken window remains at the old pool entrance caused by settling. We need the retaining wall, this could all be, you know, part of the mansion project eventually. We talked about obtaining quotes of restoration for the plaque commemorating the performance of the American Ballet.
Ditto.
Honor its 100th anniversary in 2034.
Sole source.
Yeah, could be a sole source. There's very limited people that work on these things. As you know, I've contacted a couple of temporaries actually, or you know.
So it's just restoring it, it's
Yeah,
not.
restoring it, yeah,
getting any-
there's a niche for doing that. Okay, teacher center, dead diseased tree cutting was done, we planted new flowering trees. And we replaced the carpeting with laminate flooring on the first floor of the teacher center building. The bus garage, yeah, we still have this on here, the considering paving and electric vehicle charging stations for a long-term plan. Basically, we need funding source for the for a pilot program. The science labs, you know, trying to get some funding. I don't believe we've had any luck, as we were you know, applications were sent out. As of the other day, we hadn't heard back from any respondents.
Okay.
Minutes and scheduling the calendar, that's probably our next concern would be. We were talking about possibly doing the facilities tour. I was speaking with, I was
pull out our calendars.
Yep.
And
I
you,
move that we approve the minutes as submitted. Sorry, I'm gonna get that done.
oh, good.
Does anybody need a copy of the calendars here? There's a couple of them.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? We have an agenda. Sorry, minutes. Okay, then.
Yeah. Okay,
I know that we do have the 20, you know, the conference days.
Yeah.
I would suggest the 8/26 for the facilities tour.
Okay.
now, this date will probably be proposed to the board for discussion on Tuesday. This is usually, not usually, sometimes it's convened as a facilities committee meeting, sometimes it's convened as a special meeting. So, this,
Yeah, we would just try to get as much time, you
Yeah,
know,
to get our-
you know, to give the guys, especially some of the buildings that are having the summer school and.
26th.
What is it, like 10 a.m.
26th is the Tuesday.
usually?
I think so.
Yeah, usually 9 or 10 in the morning we start.
9 is good, it's gonna be hot.
Yeah.
But earlier.
Yeah.
And if people wanna,
You say
you know,
9
if
is
people wanna
better?
go to work, so, you know, see a building, Mr. Police, what time do you prefer?
9 is fine, I don't think that's too early, I think that's,
Okay, 9 a.m.
Last year we had the groundbreaking for the increase in the
yeah, and then we didn't really get started till
about.
10:30 or so, yeah,
Yeah,
it was starting to get hot, so.
Yeah.
okay, so 9 a.m. is the 26th. And then, well, gosh. Do you like, Wednesdays and Thursdays, or what do you prefer? Are people happy with what we've been doing?
Is it possible to maybe alternate a Wednesday and Thursday to give other people who definitely can't make it, you know?
I'm gonna defer first to Mr. Police's preference.
No, I mean,
Or
whatever,
Tuesday, Wednesday, something.
whatever you come up with,
No, Tuesday.
usually make myself available.
Well,
Like a Wednesday night show.
Okay, so
I'm just saying, I know a few people who have said, you know, we.
I'll defer to the committee, whatever you guys decide, yeah.
Okay, so, what do you want, like you don't want the week that school starts. Probably Patriot Day, ECP, LFG. So, all right, so you got Wednesday and Thursday, the 10th versus the 11th, which one?
Well, you have to do it the 11th because you got back to school night tentatively on the 10th. I would avoid all back to school nights.
ECP, LFJ, PTA meeting, all right, so facilities. All right, on the, you like 6:30,
You want us to say these days?
Sorry, what date was that?
the 11th?
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be good, it's waiting the minutes.
Okay,
September 11th.
and then, October
We got September 11th.
September 11th. Sorry, what time did you guys?
6:30 is still 30 time. Yeah. Then October,
What about the 9th?
the 9th, okay. 30.
That's a Thursday.
Yes.
That's a Thursday.
Yeah.
And then November. And you want Wednesday? You want Wednesday the 12th?
Yeah.
Everybody, okay? 6:30. Okay, December. High school winter concert, no, I don't wanna do the same. Be sharing, yeah, the 11th, right?
Was that December 11th?
December 11th, yeah. 6:30. Okay, January 7th.
7th or 4th of Wednesday?
Well, do you have a preference? No.
Not really, you wanna go the 7th, if you don't wanna go after the board meeting,
I'd
that's
rather
fine.
7th or 15th. 'Cause I don't, the day after the board meeting.
We could do the 7th if you want.
All right, 7th.
Wait, it doesn't show the board meeting is the 6th.
On the 13th.
On the 13th.
13th.
Oh, sorry.
So if we do it right after that, then we're all
2 nights in, yeah.
hungover from
So what did it say?
fatigue poisons.
Sorry.
The 7th, January 7th.
Okay.
February.
The 11th.
Sure.
No.
No, Board of Education work session, you want,
5th?
5th? Okay.
I don't know, hold on, it's where are we looking for? Right?
In March? The 11th.
Oh,
What?
gosh, go to the 4th then.
So we are.
Keep it in the day after the meeting. Essentially Wednesday.
All right, so the day of March.
Wait, you wanna go to March 4th?
If you're gonna do a Wednesday, go to March 4th instead of the.
Oh, because of the work
please.
session,
Right,
okay.
so. That's
So
Please object at any time, anyone.
6:30, 4th. And then April 9th. 6:30. May, oh, let's see. Well, no, it doesn't, it gets complicated for you because of the other committee.
It'll be, well.
Okay, do you like the 7th? Yes, okay. 6:30. Okay. In June. Gosh, it was hard getting hold of this calendar. So, do we need to wait until later in the month of June to have the meeting in order to plan the calendar? Oh God, look at it all. Okay. Regents exam, sports day, 6th grade dance.
You have nothing that week, David, just unless you do the Monday possibly, but I don't know.
The 10th? Is that a bit?
He wants the calendar for the meeting. We're not gonna get it on the 10th.
What's that for next year's draft?
So we wanna, well, it's the 18th now, so, 6th grade dance, Regents exam, Juneteenth, AC, well, we could, no, 8th grade dance. I don't know what people have.
It's gonna have to interfere with somebody's.
It's gonna interfere with something.
You don't think?
How about,
But if you think,
interfere with
I'm
the,
gonna be selfish here. We
fine.
don't know what trustees will be on the committee.
Correct.
I'm gonna selfishly think of the trustees right now. I'm picking this date. We will not have anyone who has a 6th grader next year. We won't have anyone with an 8th grader next year, as far as dance nights from trustees. So saying that, I don't know that you wouldn't, here we are the day before Juneteenth again. Sorry, I'm thinking out loud. But you don't want it the week of the 10th and 11th.
Right, I wanted the week of Juneteenth.
Do we do the week after Father's Day? Do we do the week of the 22nd? Can't do the 23rd. I don't know.
What's wrong with the 17th?
Board of Education meeting the night before.
We have every month, every week is a board. So we're not.
So the 18th is okay for me. FAC 6:30.
I don't know how you feel though. It's a 3-day weekend. I don't wanna force somebody to be here on the night. before
And
3
then you
days.
leave, Fran, and you bye, and then virtual.
Getting deja vu.
But so,
Yeah, what do you think? You're gonna be here?
what about, what about the 24th and 25th? If you wanna keep it late, just to try to be mindful of.
Regents exam, 8th grade field day, senior memory lane tour, ECP recognition.
It's all daytime stuff. It's after a board meeting, but we're gonna have a hard time avoiding board meeting. Thursday, the day before graduation. Thursday the 25th.
Oh, yeah, it's usually.
I'm liking.
Usually the day before, like the 24th, that's usually like when they drop off the chairs and we start setting that up for the graduation.
He's
That's,
busy.
I'm usually pretty busy like the 24th, 5th.
Okay, what about Monday, the 22nd? Sorry, I'm gonna completely draw a different day. I'm just trying to be mindful of the 3-day weekend. Otherwise, that's the best.
I think that's, think otherwise it's.
What do you think of Monday, the 22nd?
I'll defer to whatever you guys think.
EYP exhibition.
Jessica, can you hear us mulling this over?
I can do the 18th. I can do
18th and the 22nd, whatever you guys.
I can hear you guys, and you guys pick the dates that work the most for you because you guys got crazy schedules. Well, but yeah, you guys are deep into details.
If I'm voting between the 18th and 22nd, I vote the 22nd.
Okay.
Okay, done.
Okay, you
Well, I'm
got it.
only one person.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
that's
that's
fine.
okay with
In the
me.
absence of a strong reason to oppose. Okay, and we are.
You're welcome.
Oh,
Thank you, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
concern to raise,
Yes.
the police.
Yes,
Are you aware of, my daughter brought it to my attention, a mold issue in the coaches' offices in those boys and girls locker rooms?
no. I
Have you
think
looked into that?
it
You've
would-
seen it with her own eyes.
in Woodlands here?
Yeah,
Okay.
In the locker room?
black mold
Mold.
she specifically, are there offices within the locker rooms?
I believe there's coaches, you know, they have
Coaches' rooms? Yeah.
offices and I,
Those,
I'll be honest, with you, I don't usually spend time in the,
right,
is it the women's or the men's or
both, they said both.
mold in locker?
Offices.
Well, now I need to know what you.
No, maybe she didn't see both, but,
Okay, well, check it out. This is the
Yeah.
first I'm hearing of it, but.
okay.
That's, yeah.
I'm gonna head out. Good night, all. Have a good rest of your week.
Okay.
All right,
We'll follow up on
do
that.
are there any other concerns besides the black mold?
No, thank you for changing the water filters. I saw our.
Do I
It's
hear
an
a motion to
ongoing
adjourn?
matter.
I'm going to adjourn the meeting.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's 9:20.